Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. This is happening. This is a show. This is a show that's happening. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Quit your complaining, you crybaby. Come on. Pour yourself a cup of coffee. We're going to do the news. It'll be fun. You're going to enjoy it. It's the #1 news reaction show on YouTube. It's the best. Okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. Welcome. Hey, Nurse Rod, how the heck are ya? The first one, the #1 news reaction show on YouTube, The Morning Friggin' Sky. Welcome to the show. Every headline. Day greets new bloom. Start your day just right. Thanks for being here, everybody. You need to know it, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Oh, you ready for Monday? You seem like you're ready. Yeah, Kathy Skywalker's in the house. Hell yeah, you are. Oh my gosh. On the go. Join us on this daily ride. Side by side. All right, sexy. Hey, sexy, how you doing? How you doing out there? How you doing, sexy? How you doing? How you feeling? How you feeling out there? You feeling good? I hope so. Good morning, headlines. You're not ready for Monday? Oh, Monday. Someone's got the case of the Monday. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Cut it. We got to cut it. It's cut it like Qatar. Cut it like Qatar. How you guys doing? You feeling great? You feeling good? You looking good? Oh, man. Today in Albuquerque, it's beautiful. It's sunny. I woke up. It was dark. Started work on the channel. Took a little nappy poo. Made myself some coffee. Walked around. It's beautiful out here, man. It's beautiful. You got to get out of the low zone, move into the ozone. That's what they say out here. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. My name is Sky Jack Morgan. I'm an independent news and culture commentator, free speech and critical thinking advocate, and #1 news reaction show on YouTube, Morning Sky Show. I am really jazzed about doing a Morning Sky zine. I'm really jazzed about it. I reached out to a poetry friend to see if he wants to be the poetry editor. It'd be so cool. It'd be really nice. Albuquerque, France. Exactly. I'm in Albuquerque, France. That's exactly right. How did you know? How did you know that? Not Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque, France. Of course. Why would you want to live in, of course, Albuquerque, New Mexico? I mean, France. Yeah. Have you seen the movie Paris, Texas? Man, that's a good movie. Have you seen the movie Paris, Texas? You just reminded me of that. Yeah, you're good at geography. Have you seen the movie Paris, Texas? It's good. You should watch it. It's fun. It's a character study of people of Texas. No, it's a great movie. You should check it out. what else? I mean, it's always hard to do the cold opens on Monday because like the weekend, right? Like we did the Ethical Underground. How was your weekend? Do you have a good weekend? Let me know in the chat. My weekend consisted of Saturday being, what did I do Saturday? Oh, I saw a movie. I saw Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, and that was really good. I loved that. I love the movie. It was pretty fun, interesting, weird, trippy, exciting, all over the place. Gillian Anderson's in it. She's wonderful. That's great. You're in the alien abduction zone now, Jack. I know because I'm so high to the... I think, though, I read this thing yesterday that although the air is cleaner up here, carbon monoxide is actually higher up here, and some people are very sensitive to carbon monoxide, and they start seeing shit like ghosts and aliens. And I'm starting to be convinced that maybe all of the alien talk, maybe it's because of the higher concentration of carbon monoxide. Maybe I'm also losing my mind having moved here. Could be, maybe. I don't know. Hey, Edward Thornton, what's the deal and how you feeling? I hope you're having a great day. Anyway, so my weekend consisted of that and working. Today I got big plans for today. I'm going to take my guitar into Music Go Round and see if I can't get the truss rod adjusted so it stops buzzing. The old one, the new one, the old one, the one I've picked up at a thrift store for $50, $50 guitar. I'm going to try to bring it back to life. And I'm going to buy a pickup, which, they're usually not that expensive, but there's a sound hole pickup for acoustics. You got to stick it in the hole and jiggle it around. You got to stick it in the hole and jiggle it around like this. You got to stick it in the hole and jiggle it. And then when you play guitar, you're electrified and you're amplified. So since I want to start doing some open mics, I got to get one of those. I got to get a rig going. Oh my God, so much is happening in the news. We're at war still. We're still at war, everybody. You gotta jiggle it. If you're gonna stick it in the hole, you gotta jiggle it. That's the thing about anything involving holes. If you stick it into the hole, you gotta jiggle it. Yeah, I jiggled even when I put a key into the lock. I jiggle a little bit so it's a nice clean turn on the lock. You gotta jiggle. The jiggle is the most important thing if you think about it. Sticking it in, any asshole could do. But jiggling is what you gotta do. Yes. Jiggling makes all the difference. It's how you jiggle. It's not how you stick it in, it's how you jiggle it. Trump is going to get us all killed. Man, what do you think so? In my lifetime, I hope not. I hope not. Is it going to kill the S&P 500? Isn't it this Water Sports Monday? It is Water Sports Monday. It is, yeah. So make sure you watch some water sports. I'm going to go to Music Go Round, do that stuff I just told you about the guitar. And then tonight is karaoke at the brewery about 2 blocks away from my house. So I'm going to do that too because it's fun and there's people there and I'm trying to build community. So that's cool too. Raoul Duke's in the house. What's the deal and how you feeling, Raoul Duke? I hope you're having a great day. Try to not stick my keys in my asshole, but whatever floats your boat. Don't stick your keys in your well, if you want to, go ahead. I mean, it seems like it would be a little painful. The jagged edge seems rough. Ugh. But hey, the jagged edge of your keys, if that's where you like to stick it. But the truth is, even that, it would depend on the jiggling motion, whether or not it would be enjoyable. You got to wiggle and jiggle. You got to get jiggy with it. That's what Will Smith meant when he said getting jiggy with it. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you drop an emoji in the chat. In the beginning, please drop some emojis in the chat to let me know what your vibe is today. Make sure, they won't get lost if they're up there, I suppose. You'll never forget where they are either. You'll never forget where they are. It's true. You're right about that. You're right. You'll never forget where you put your keys as long as they're in your ass. Thank you, everybody, for joining. My name is Skyjack Morgan, independent news and culture commentator, free speech and critical thinking advocate, and boy, are my arms tired. Please consider becoming a Morning Sky City rebel, because you know what? Life is short, and I need you. You don't have to be a loner.
I'm a loner, Daddy.
A rebel. You don't have to be a loner, but you do have to be a rebel, and rebels get extra streams, extra content, and extra love in the chat. What up, Melissa Sweetser's here. Oh my gosh, now the party can start.
A plan by President Trump to try to ease sticker shock at the grocery stores. The president plans.
He wants to ease my sticker shock. It's a little late. What are you going to do? You going to buy me some ramen, Betty boy? You going to buy me some goddamn ramen? What do you think Donald Trump's big plan is to lower lower grocery prices now? After 1 year, it'll be 30% down, 30%. It'll be way cheaper, way cheaper, way cheaper.
To waive import tariffs on ground beef, saying exporters have agreed to sell it for cheaper prices. The Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association, though, opposing the move, warning government intervention could undercut American producers.
It absolutely will. There you go. Screw over American farmers and producers, but hey, I don't care. I think they all deserve to die anyway, seeing as how they're exploiting animals, and I'm a total liberation type of guy. I stand for freedom and liberty. I don't know what you stand for. Yeah, $40 billion to Argentina. Perfect. They can, and Brazil, I'm guessing, because I know we tax the hell out of Brazil. Why don't you bring down the cost of coffee, asshole? We don't grow coffee in America. This is how stupid fucking Donald Trump is. Dude, you want us to be happy? Give us the drugs, motherfucker. Give us the drugs. Give us the drugs, Donald Trump. Give us the candy, Donnie. Give us the candy, Donnie. Look, man, all you got to do is lower the price of coffee. And you know what? That's really easy because your tariff on Brazil is redonkulous. Stop it. Just because they got your friend in jail, you want to make some personal vendetta against them. And now you're like, well, the Brazilian beef will not be tariffed. Just the fuck you. You're gonna drop the tariffs on beef, but not coffee? Are you an idiot? We don't. The whole point of tariffs, you stupid asshole, is to protect what we make here. Now, I'm against the cattle industry, but if it were any widget, and if you're building widgets here, and you lower the tariffs overseas to bring those same widgets here, those self-same widgets, then guess what? You're going to hurt the people making the widgets here. But the thing about coffee is that's a widget we can't make. It's very difficult to make coffee, except in maybe Hawaii where it's extremely expensive coffee, so you can kind of count them out. They're kind of their own niche. Coffee, you cannot grow in America, the contiguous 48 states anyway, and Alaska. So 49 out of 50 states, they ain't growing coffee. Point being, if you lowered the tariff, it wouldn't hurt American producers because there are none. It would help American consumers because we want it, baby. I need it. I need it. You just got your tariff check? Way to go, man. I think that's rad. This guy doesn't understand the whole point of tariffs. He's like, tariffs are my favorite thing. My favorite thing. He doesn't know how they work. He doesn't know what they mean. He doesn't know what they do. He's an imbecile. Donald Trump is an imbecile. Even the tariffs after all this time, after 2 years of tariffs, this imbecile doesn't know why tariffs even exist, even what a tariff is. He doesn't understand any of it. He doesn't know who pays the tariffs. Now he's saying that, now I understand that as a matter of fact, the consumer does pay for tariffs. Nobody knew that. So I'm going to lower the tariff on beef. Imbecile. He's an imbecile. He's a moron. After all this time, still doesn't know why tariffs exist. So he's going to lower the tariff on something that we produce here. Again, something I'm against anyway, but still, it just goes to show what a moron this man is.
Heidi Wigdahl here with why they say this is a short-term fix, Heidi, but could really create some long-term problems.
Yeah, Jennifer, this is receiving criticism, including from...
Yeah, the price is up because Donald Trump has done tariffs on especially Brazil, which is a major, maybe the most major producer of coffee in the world. One of the biggest is Brazil. So if you raise that price, it creates demand for all of the other countries, even though their tariffs might be lower. So those prices also go up. And since we don't produce it here, we cannot fill the gap. We cannot fill the need here in the United States because we don't grow coffee beans. Duh. Coffee was not tariffed. You were just you're an imbecile Calatime. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. It's painful. He did a blanket tariff on Brazil. Bingo. And now he wants to lift some tariffs on Brazil when it comes to animal flesh, which is stupid because we produce animal flesh here. Ding dang do. What a moron.
Some Republicans in office. The Minnesota State Cattlemen's Association says it's disappointed and does not support government intervening in the market this way. And the National Cattlemen's Beef Association called this a political move, as the president says the deal lasts for the next 90 days, with the association saying, quote, it is 100% about the 74 days between now and the midterm elections.
At Schiefelbein Farms in Kimball.
Thank you, Kayla Time. This is my favorite tradition of this show. Imbeciles on the right, imbecilic, magtard pedophiles that can't spell your and insult other people's intelligence. I love it. This is my favorite thing that you idiots do. You can't even spell the word your, and you're attacking other people's intelligence. It really is. I enjoy it. Thank you very much for continuing the tradition of just parading your your ignorance before everybody. Just goes to show everyone who supports Donald Trump at this point is a moron and a pedophile. A moronic pedophile? A pedophilic moron? Which would you prefer? Which do you prefer, Kayla? A moronic pedophile or a pedophilic moron? I'll call you whatever you'd like, you know. I want to stay factual. Are you more of a pedophile or more of a moron? A moronic pedophile or a pedophilic moron? It's up to you.
It's going to be a busy few months.
Beef is everything to us.
Don Schiefelbein says what we're looking at is an expansion. They're increasing their feedlot capacity by 50%. Going from a facility that can hold 2,000 cattle to 3,000.
The president has been telling us we need to get beef priced right, and we did our part. We followed his orders and said, boy, we're going to help lead the charge in making more beef.
But President Trump's new
we're going to make more beef.
plan to lower beef prices temporarily allows up to 300,000 metric tons of ground beef to be imported into the U.S. with no out-of-quota tariff.
Oh, that's great, because ground beef, I mean, that's the safest one. That's the one that is almost never contaminated. Ground beef is the one that's the best. Everybody loves ground beef. That's the one that is the healthiest too, right? Everyone knows that about ground beef. It's the best one. Let's import more of that for America. Maha, make America healthy again, everybody.
The president says there's a commitment that this beef will be sold at 25% below current market prices.
And it's just a big shot in the gut, right? Here we are doing exactly what we're supposed to. Then you have the government who really should not be involved in our business at all. Imagine any other business where the president comes out and single-handedly says, you need to make 25% less starting immediately.
I can imagine lots of businesses like that with Donald Trump. I mean, he's an idiot. He says he got elected saying he wants free market economy and how bad Mr. Biden was for wanting to meddle with the U.S. steel situation, the Japanese and U.S. steel situation. But now there's nothing about free market economy now. Not that the free market's all the bee's knees, but I just love the bait and switch that the Republicans have done, that it's all about free market. We're going to let the market decide everything. Now the government owns 10% of Intel and is asking for, and now demands 50% of any money that NVIDIA makes off of the chips sold to Saudi Arabia. It's weird. It's weird. That ain't free market. Tariffs are the opposite of free market, the opposite of capitalism. It really is the government controlling the means of production in ways that really we haven't seen since, USSR, Adolf Hitler's time, those old days. We haven't seen this shit for a while.
Beef prices remain at record highs. Don says what they've been doing has been working.
If you look at the beef cattle market since June, cattle prices have gone down $400.
Awar wanders in. What? Did someone say something about my cult leader? Listen, asshole, I'm not in one of the cults. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a fucking Democrat. I don't subscribe to your stupid unitard party. That's where I thought liberals wanted that. You thought liberal? You don't know what a liberal is, imbecile. You don't know what a liberal is, you fucking fool. You automatonic zombie that just walks around doing whatever the government tells you. You got the government telling you to do everything they want. want and you just comply and you're like, liberals though, dude, I'm not a liberal. Go eat a bowl of dicks. Go eat a whole bowl of them. Democrats, not a Democrat. Not a Democrat, thank you. See, this is the thing. This is how you know they're in a cult, because every time someone criticizes their guru, their favorite politician, every time someone criticizes their favorite, he's my favorite politician, how dare you? These guys would rather pray and worship a politician than give two shits about their neighbors. They will pray at the table begging like Pomeranians at the foot of the table, begging for crumbs, and to these rich and powerful people who would not piss down their throats if their hearts were on fire, and yet they sit there with their mouths open begging like brick. Oh, Democrats though, not a Democrat, loser. Not a Democrat, loser. Keep going, you cultish piece of crap.
Per head, those that are actually raising.
It's Lovecraftian at this point. It's like there's this whole group of Americans who have completely lost any sense of self, have completely lost any sense of individuality, are just now completely devoid of any critical thinking or any autonomy whatsoever. And all they do is, yes, master, yes, master, yes, master. And then they get into these weird rallies that are nothing more than just death cult rallies. Yes, yes, yes. It's unnerving. It's like a Lovecraft horror novel that you're praying to some elder god. People who are so against the teachings of Christ that you just goose step off into the apocalypse. You guys are following the Antichrist. Go read the goddamn Bible, losers. Jesus, if you want a cult, man, follow Christ.
Them are getting between 12%, give or take, less than what they were in June.
This year, data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture revealed the U.S. cattle herd had shrunk to its smallest size since the 1950s. Among the reasons included rising costs and drought. Don says for those who were considering expanding, the president's move could change things.
What he did on Friday was completely counterproductive for the long-term, real way necessary to lower beef prices.
Well, who'd you vote there? Who'd you vote for there, dang dang do? One of my favorite things to watch these days is the soy farmers of America, the cattle producers of America sit there crying and praying to Jesus that Donald Trump will change his mind about something or bail them out. Remember when the soy farmers of America were all holding hands, all these tough men, very strong, tough men, farmers, and they're there crying, holding hands, begging Jesus to change who the president is so that they might live another day and not have to sell their ancestral lands. What a ridiculous spot they've put us all in. And then they go and they ask, who'd you vote for? Oh, ding dang do. You voted for Donald Trump now, did you? Ding dang do. Oh, you just hated brown people? You hated brown people and you wanted women to know their place, and now you're all fucked? What do you know? Ding dang do.
Everything that we were building and trying to make all the incentives go to expansion, in one executive order or one trade agreement, he stopped cold in its feet.
The National Cattlemen's Beef Association says this does nothing to create market confidence or encourage rebuilding the herd. There are still a lot of questions, one of them being which countries the beef will be coming from, Jennifer.
Yeah.
We know which country the beef will be coming from. It will be Brazil and Argentina. That's where the beef is going to come from. They're going to tear down more of the Amazon forest so that they can create more soy fields and grazing pastures for cattle that will be now shipped to the United States. Well, luckily, one of the reasons why the cattle is also why beef is getting more expensive is because we're not killing as many mama cows. I mean, they aren't allowing baby girl cows to grow up and become mama cows because no one's drinking milk anymore because it's fucking disgusting. 73% of the income of dairy farms in America are, guess what, paid for by subsidies, contracts, and tax dollars. So yeah, all of them are tax dollars, subsidies, contracts, and bailouts. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you're not going to let little girl cows become mama cows so that they can make a herd, and that takes, years, then you're not going to have too many cows around. And now, because of the dairy prices, sinking and having problems there, it creates a beef problem. What do you know? Because 98% of dairy cows become hamburgers, ground beef, just like Donald Trump is really pushing. Way to go. Jack hates life. Man, I love life. I'm high on life. What are you talking about? I'm pro-life and liberty. You're pro-death. If you're pro-Donald Trump, you are pro-death. You are pro-killing children. You are pro-killing little girls in Iran. Hey, these things just happen. If you're pro-Donald Trump, you are anti-little girl. You are anti-woman. You are anti-minority. You're anti-working class. You hate everybody. You're anti-life. It's an anti-life position. Yes. The few people here, 13 thumbs up. Well, I don't do so much of the begging for likes. Hey, everybody, like it, would you please? Would you like it so that all of the magtards in the chat can see that you're here, please? Please, would you please? Pretty please with a cherry on top, please.
Our top
please.
Top story tonight. Minneapolis police arrested far-right extremist Jake Lang after his latest rally quickly turned.
Man, it's happening. They're starting to put Jake Lang. Jake Lane's going to go to jail. Maybe they'll finally get him. Do you think they'll finally hang Jake Lang? Hang Jake Lang. I don't know why that's not on a poster. I never see that on a poster. Hang Jake Lang.
Confrontational today. The pardoned January 6th rioter and self-described anti-Muslim activist came to Minneapolis for what he called a freedom of speech.
Look at this, a freedom of speech. He drove up on the sidewalk and kind of threatened people with vehicular manslaughter. Take another bump. I don't do bumps like Donald Trump does, those boner bumps. He likes doing bumps off the erections of young men in Studio 54. It's a widely circulated rumor that Donald Trump loved doing bumps off the cocks of young men's erect penises. He loved it. It was his big thing. He didn't drink. Because his brother died of alcoholism, but he was a powder monkey, big time. Loved doing boner bumps, and not me. It's never been my thing. I never liked the whole boner bump thing. But hey, to each his own. If Donald Trump wants to do little boner bumps off of young men's erect penises, that's none of my business, right? I'm high on life. I take coffee seriously. I'm a coffee guy myself. I like coffee and beer. I'm just a red-blooded American. I like coffee and beer. I don't know about you. I'm not one of those rich guys that can afford to do coke bumps off of young men's erect penises. It's just not my whole thing. You're a name calling it. That's my favorite. Thank you very much. Barney Bell, thank you very much for continuing the tradition of illiteracy in the Magtard community. The Magtard community can never spell the word your. It's one of my favorite things that you guys got going on. You don't know that it's called the Democratic Party. You don't know that the Republicans are all rapist bastards who want to buy and sell your 12-year-old girls, and you don't know how to spell the word your. I think it's because you're so homophobic that you never learned your homophones. Is that what it is? Did they not teach about homophones in your schools down there in rural Mississippi? They were like, no, don't teach them about no homophones. Ding dang do. They've got the word homo right in there. You can't teach them about homophones. Your, and your, great, there. You can't do it. There, and there. Two, and two. Your, and your. Can't do it. Don't teach them. It's got the word homo in it. They might get the wrong idea and start sucking each other off. Oh my God.
Each rally promoted online using a racial slur. Police say Lang arrived with a group in two cars, which drove onto the sidewalk towards a crowd gathered outside City Hall.
Yeah, so that's assault. That's vehicular assault. Looks like Jake Lang might be going away for a while. What do you know? Democrats are sick. You're right. Democrats are sick. They keep on rolling over for you Nazis, and they never stand up. It's been a long time coming, and now that the Nazis are in charge of the Republicans are gone, right? There's no Republicans left. There's just MAGers, and the MAGers have taken over, and now the Democrats have just rolled over. I mean, at least though the Democrats, all of them, 100% of them voted to, release the Epstein files, whereas every single Republican voted against it. So Every magger hates little girls. Every magger thinks that little girls are only valuable and that they can be bought and sold to the billionaires. All you stupid Republican supporters who sit there at the foot of the table begging for scraps would gladly give up your 12-year-old daughters so that they can buy and sell them. Well, they're rich. They have the right to. They're rich and they're white. Oh my God, they could do whatever they want. They could have my girl. Sure. I wish I had a 12-year-old daughter. I'd gladly give her to Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein and have them do what they will with her because ding dang do, like and subscribe.
Our Jessica Hart is here to share how these events unfolded and why police made those arrests. Jess?
Raya, the primary law that was broken that started this whole thing was those two vehicles driving onto the sidewalk. Minneapolis police had officers say.
I do call out by both sides. I've been doing this show for 5 years. What do you think I was doing before Donald Trump was? Donald Trump has only been president for 2 years, imbecile. Listen, assholes, when you say call out both sides, when the Democrats are in the news, I call them out. When the Republicans are in the news, I call them out. I call out all sides. I call out everyone in power, actually, anyone with any power. That's your job as an American, is to throw tomatoes at the people in power. Haven't you learned anything? You're supposed to question authority. That's what America was based on. We don't like kings and queens and billionaires and oligarchs and aristocrats. We're supposed to be allergic to those things. You're supposed to be allergic to people like Louis the Sun King saying, let them eat cake with his wife Marie Antoinette. Guess what? That's what the French did to those guys. And they were inspired by America. They chopped off their heads because they're like, look what the Americans did. We're going to chop off our kings and queens' heads. Now America is just a country of simps and hall monitors, bunch of bootlickers. God damn it, bunch of turncoats, bunch of tattletales. It's really depressing. It's depressing.
Inside City Hall, and when they saw those vehicles, they responded.
From the moment Jake Lang arrived, it was heated.
At approximately 11:50 a.m., far-right extremist and known racist Jake Lang arrived near Minneapolis City Hall.
Lang and 6 others came in 2 vehicles and were confronted by counter-protesters.
And the cops, did you see what the cops are doing? They're like, Durr! The cops are like Barney Fife up there. It's ridiculous.
Lang is standing in the black pickup wearing a white T-shirt and vest.
Both vehicles then drove onto the sidewalk in front of City Hall toward a crowd of people that were gathered there. Many of them could have easily been injured or even killed.
A person dressed.
I love this. Biden though.
Spider-Man.
Fuck it. Donald Trump has been president for 2 years now. He's been in all told 6 years as president. 6 years. He's been president longer than Biden ever was. And you guys are still like, Biden though. Oh my God, Joe Biden. Oh God. And I hated Joe Biden before you knew who he was. You goddamn simps. You guys will say anything just to protect your favorite politician. He's my favorite, though. You guys are nothing. You guys think that you're smart because you love the president. It's ridiculous. You think you're patriotic, but you're not. You're just a Swiftie. You're a fangirl. Because you ever talk to a Swiftie or like a Beyonce fan? Anything she does is the best thing that she's ever done. She couldn't do anything wrong. They'll make excuses for anything she says. If she says something wrong in an interview, they make excuses for her. That's what MAGers are. That's what the Trump supporter is just a fangirl, just a Swiftie. I don't know what do they call the Queen Bee followers? What are Beyonce followers? What do they call her?
To the black truck, tackles the men in back, and then Lang security sprays the crowd with a chemical irritant.
Gassing our own people in America. We're gassing our own people in America. That's what's happening. I like that Spider-Man got involved, though. That's kind of exciting.
It was not safe for us to make any sort of arrests on those individuals in that large crowd.
Bill Peterson, the Minneapolis interim police chief, says the best thing was
you've been hating on all them presidents. Good. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hate the president. You're supposed to try to get the only time you're supposed to support a candidate in order to get him to be president or her to be president, and then once they're president, the roles change. You work for me now, asshole. What the fuck you done for me lately? How come my gas prices aren't cheaper? Day one! How come your gas prices aren't lower? Why aren't my grocery prices lower? How come these wars aren't over? But no, the magtard is like, Dang, dang, do. Biden, though. Biden. I mean, it really is Lovecraftian cult style bullshit. It really is ridiculous. But you're good for you, my Mr. Finley. You're supposed to be questioning every single president. Let me look at this idiot. Doesn't know anything about history. Democrats are the party of the KKK Jim Crow laws. If I did that. I mean, it's just fucking hell. Yeah. That's it. It was 1860s, and then nothing happened since then. Again, nobody cares. We're not Democrats around here, imbecile. Listen, cultist. I don't care about your red versus blue bullshit. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't believe in your stupid unitard party bullshit. Go fuck yourself with your Democrat hate. I don't care.
To get the vehicles out to de-escalate the situation.
Anytime there is crowds of people gathered, the last thing we want to see is vehicles driving towards them when we don't know their full intentions.
From Sky 11.
The Socialist Party is dead. I mean, MAGA is a National Socialist Party. The National Socialist Party is alive and well. I mean, Nazis are here to stay. They never went away, but now they're in power. We get to decide. Now we get to find out what will happen. I mean, I've always wondered, like, what would happen if a weird, creepy little dude became leader of America and he started doing all this Nazi shit. I wonder if there'd be a lot of people to support him. Will people just worship uniforms? Will people just do whatever the Gestapo says? Will people just be okay with losing their freedom of speech? It turns out a lot of Americans are. We get to decide. We're the generation that gets to experience true Nazi America. We're in it. I mean, isn't that exciting? It's so I think it's exciting. We get to have a front row ticket, a front row seat to what will happen when the Nazis actually rise to power in the United States of America. We're here.
You can see Lang's vehicle.
There you go. Lang running for it.
Speeding off from the scene, driving onto sidewalks in downtown, and almost hitting pedestrians. Officers then relayed vehicle information, leading to the first one being stopped by the State Patrol near 35W in Washington.
It's funny. This guy's driving, threatening people with his car, driving onto sidewalks. Nobody shot him. Nobody shot Jake Lang. How come nobody shot this guy?
The second was stopped by...
I thought that's how we solve our problems in America. When a car's doing something weird, we just shoot him, right? We just shoot him in the face. Isn't that what we do? Oh, wait. Why wasn't Jake... Oh, because he's a Nazi.
By Bloomington police near the intersection of Lindau and IKEA. Minneapolis police arrested all of them for probable cause riot. Their vehicles impounded, and more charges could come.
What party? AWAR, again, you're a cultist. You're a cultist. It's weird. Get over your party shit, you weird fuck. Also, I guess you missed the whole thing when Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the Tea Party assholes were screaming at the tops of their lungs during Biden's State of the Union. I guess you forget the first time it started happening was during Barack Obama, when Republicans would scream while he was talking, screaming out liar and all this shit. It's the first time it ever happened, as far as I know. First time people started screaming during the president's State of the Union address was the Republicans screaming at the first black president. I wonder why they waited until the first black president for that to happen. During the Trump years, nobody was screaming during that. I mean, they held little signs. They did little cutesy stuff because they're like limp-wristed Democrats. But, you know, whatever. Keep on going with your party affiliation if you think that's valuable. But I'm here to tell you, your parties are the same. They take the money from the same people. Nothing ever changes. They keep on allowing the banks to consolidate power and wealth, and you're left out in the cold. You get nothing while they take everything. And you're like, but the Democrats, though, the Republicans, though. If you think the Democrats are coming to save you, you're an idiot. If you think the Republicans give two shits about you, you're an idiot.
You can use hate speech even if we all find it to be abhorrent. However, there are exceptions to that general rule. Incitement of violence, clear threats.
Oh God! Remember when Stephen Miller was quoting Joseph Goebbels? What did it make you hard? Did it make you hard, Donna Liston, when our literal Joseph Goebbels was literally quoting Joseph Goebbels? It was exciting. I mean, I like it when they're right out in the open with their Nazi shit.
Harassment, hate crimes. These can all be potential constitutional violations.
Yeah.
3 officers were injured today. Peterson says one was hit in the head with a hard object, another tweaked something in his hip, and the
They arrested a Nazi, guys. Do you think what do you think they're gonna do to him?
third had his foot or ankle rolled up on by one of the 2 vehicles. There were also 4 additional arrests outside City Hall, Raya.
Okay, and those 4 arrests, Jess, on what grounds were those people arrested, and what do you know about potential charges?
Yeah, Raya, 2 of them were arrested for disorderly conduct, another was for probable cause riot, and the 4th was for assault. As far as charges go, they have not been charged.
And the 5th was for general Nazi fuckery.
Charged with anything yet, but police are saying that more charges could come, and it's possible that more people might be arrested, Raya.
So amid record.
I always love people. They're like, "You're an idiot at best, friend." At best friends, my best friend is, you're my best friend. It's always funny, you know, I get a degree in German. I study German culture. I go to fucking Germany. I've been to most of the concentration camps and death camps. I lived in Germany for 6 years. I get this fancy education from a fancy university. I graduate with highest honors with a degree in English and German. I publish books. I read more books than probably you've ever even heard of. And still people are like, "You're an idiot. I know more than you do." I love that about YouTube. It has truly democratized everything, hasn't it? We have a bunch of imbeciles like these guys that think that they're political science majors. They think they're political science experts because they have a favorite politician that they would allow. They say, "Yeah, you can fuck my sister, Donald Trump. She's only 12, but I heard that's right for you. I heard that's exactly what you like. The younger the better. Am I right, Donald? All right, Mr. Trump." I mean, these guys, I love it when these stupid magtards, they'll be like, "Donald Trump, I just think I'd rather have a beer with him than Kamala Harris." Well, Kamala Harris at least drinks beer. Donald Trump is anti-beer. Like, you guys think the guy who's anti-beer is your friend?
Low polling, and we're talking record low. A new projection shows President Trump's net approval rating is negative in 47 out of 50 states. That is according to The Economist and YouGov. Trump's net approval is minus 26. Going state by state, the data shows widespread dissatisfaction with Trump, even in places that voted for him in 2024. Ahead of the midterms, Trump has a negative net approval rating in all of the states where there are competitive Senate races.
It looks like Donald Trump is not very popular, guys. It looks like your favorite politicians just releasing slumps. It'd be like, where are you guys? Where are all you magtards? Where'd you guys go? I thought that you loved this guy. I mean, at least Swifties, they make sure that her next album will be a success. I mean, Donald Trump's dropping flops. He's just dropping flops these days. He's flopping like a flounder, this guy.
This year. In Georgia, Trump's net approval is...
Oh, my goodness. In Texas, A2 Brute, A2 Brutejas, A2 Brutejas, you've let Donald Trump down, you poor guy.
Negative 31. In North Carolina, it's negative 25. In Maine, Trump's net approval is negative 31.
This is from The Economist and YouGov, those liberals. Super conservative economist. Yeah. Michigan down 27. Man, you guys are dying out here.
In Texas, it is negative 22. And in Michigan, Trump's net approval is negative 27. So Jonathan Lemire.
Yeah, cope more. You crybaby maggers. You crybaby maggers. Oh, but the polls aren't right. It's all the numbers are lying. Look, man, facts don't care about your feelings, crybaby. You got a flop on your hands. Your dude is DOA. You elected a guy who lied, said he wasn't going to start any wars. He was going to reduce the price of gasoline by 50%, reduce the price of groceries by 30% within the first 12 months. And he was going to end all the wars 24 hours after he was elected. Not after he was inaugurated, but after he was elected. He said the day after the election, the wars would be over. Ding dang, dude. None of that dang things have been happening. Ding dang, dude. He said it'd be a wonderful thing for the farmers of America. Dang dang, dude. The farmers are complaining. He said he was going to pay down our national debt. Dang dang, dude. It's higher than ever. It just hit 40 trillion. Oh my goodness gracious. It looks like Donald Trump is fail. Epic fail. They should have called it the epic fail.
I'm curious. It almost feels like Trump and his administration is going in one direction, and the will of the American people, the needs of the American people, the needs of our alliances around the world, they're headed in a completely different directions. It seems like he doesn't care about these numbers. Am I wrong?
Well, Mika, my expert analysis on that polling is it's real bad. None of this is working for the president right now. That's why we have Republicans, really worried about this November. Many privately concede the House, all but gone.
Dude, I know you're crashing out at home with your computer, crying over your keyboard. Be careful. Like, electronics don't like the saltwater tears, baby doll. Listen, honey pie. Listen, sweaty chunks. Listen, sizzle chest. Listen, barrel nose. He's your president. He ain't my president. I don't fucking recognize the authority. I don't recognize the authority. This is ridiculous. The guy's a pedophile. I don't take orders from pedophiles. He's your president. What the fuck does that mean? What do I give a shit? Oh, he's our president. Yeah, he's our president, which is why I'm railing against him, why I'm shaking my tiny fist at the sky, screaming and yelling, saying that baby doll, you got to question authority, especially when the guy's a co-conspirator of the most famous chomo in the history of the world. I mean, can you think? I know everyone's like, well, Jeffrey Epstein might not be the most prolific chomo in the history of the world. Maybe it was somebody else. Name them. Who's a more famous pedophile than Jeffrey Epstein? And his best friend was Donald Trump. They were playboys around New York. They hang out on each other's plane. Donald Trump had a plane, but he still flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. Why? If you have your own plane, why are you flying around on Jeffrey's plane? Remember what Jeffrey said that he introduced Melania to Donald Trump and that he snooked her on Lolita Express while Jeffrey Epstein was on the plane with them? Holy shit. That's your guy, huh? That's your guy. That's your president. Yeah, you should be complaining. Another moron liberal. Who's a liberal? Mika's not a liberal. Neither is this guy. These guys are all Republicans, old school Republicans. This is the Joe Scarborough show. He's the last living Republican. Everyone else has run away. Everyone else has gone away. There's no more Republicans left. They're all maggers. Rent free in your... You think it's free, honey pie? Listen, honey pie, it ain't free. Donald Trump is spending a lot of money to be in the news every day. Trust. He's spending lots of money. And I'm paying for it too. My tax dollars are going to his fucking lifestyle. All of his kids getting billions of dollars stealing from the American people. Yeah, I'm paying for it. No, it's not rent-free, baby doll. Listen, it's not rent-free. If you think it's free, you're dumber than I thought. If you think it's free, you are lost. This is not free. It's all costing us a great deal of money. My coffee is about 67% higher than it used to be. My gas prices are almost 50% higher than they used to be. Things that I cannot chintz out on, things that I can't reduce. I can't drink less coffee. I'm addicted. I can't use less gasoline. Well, now I do because I moved. Now I live in a walkable community, but there are things that I cannot use less of. I can't eat less. I'm already quite frugal, and everything's more expensive. It ain't free, honey. It ain't free, baby doll.
And it feels like a true toss-up when a year ago at this time, we would have said Republicans were heavily favored to keep at least the upper chamber, despite, of course, history telling us that the president, his party tends to do poorly in midterms. But you're right, Mika, in taking through some of the issues here. The tariffs.
I can't drink. What are you talking about? I've been drinking the same amount of coffee for the last 33 years. 33 years I've been drinking coffee, and you're like, you could drink less. Fuck you. How about fuck you? How about fuck you? You hate America. If you think I should drink less coffee because the president has a problem with Brazil because he just doesn't like the fact that they put his friend in jail, then guess what? You're an asshole. I got to drink less coffee because your favorite politician says so? Go fuck yourself. Fuck you.
Been unpopular, and now we're in a trade war.
That's the American way now, huh? Drink less coffee. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Renewed trade war with Canada. The Iran war, deeply unpopular, never sold by the president to the American people. All it has done is send prices soaring, particularly at the gas pump. And they've settled into a plan of economic pressure. Maybe that will work. And we are seeing some disagreement in Tehran as to how they want to approach the conflict. But even if this does work, it's probably going to be a long time, too late to save Republicans, perhaps, for this midterms. And we're seeing, of course, as we'll get into it a little bit later, even the president's efforts to try to lower beef prices.
Look at this slouching piece of garbage sitting in the...
A lot of Republicans pushing back, saying...
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. His posture, even. imposter is the slouching beast, the rough beast slouching toward Bethlehem. The center cannot hold. This man is the rough beast slouching toward Bethlehem. He is the Antichrist you've heard of. He is the one who will destroy America. He is the one. If you let him, he will. Front row tickets, guys, to see what we get to do. And for everybody talking about my coffee, I literally weigh the goddamn beans on a kitchen scale so that I only drink what I absolutely have to. I'm making weak-ass coffee for the last 2 years because since Donald Trump's been president, my coffee costs 50% more. I buy cheap-ass coffee so that I can continue to keep up the habit. But if you think that the American way is that people should just drink less coffee like this is the fucking depression, then guess what? Your president has failed. Your favorite politician is a garbage person. You're not like the people that collect the garbage, but an actual piece of garbage, like someone who drinks, it's like people who go to bars and order Long Island iced teas, like that type of person. Except Donald Trump doesn't drink because he is a powder monkey who likes doing boner bumps off of the erections of young men. Thank you.
None of this is working right now. And John Howman, it seems like, to make his point, the president largely...
Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Skyjack Morgan. I'm an independent news and culture commentator, free speech and critical thinking advocate. This is the #1 news reaction show on YouTube, the Morning Sky Show. Welcome to the show, everybody. Like and subscribe. From a lot of it. Especially if you hate fascists and you think that the unitard party has let us down. If you think the church, the media, if you think the politicians and everyone has let you down, well, you found your place, you little political orphan. Listen, sweaty pie, come on down. Consider becoming a Sky City Rebel. You get extra content, extra streams, and extra love in the chat. Thanks, honeypot. Thanks, baby doll. Keep it going.
To Hyman, this is someone who has, seems to be focused solely on legacy, whether that's presiding over a number of America 250 events, including the Formula One race over the weekend, John Hyman, and of course, we seem to have lost John Hyman. We'll get him back in a moment. So we'll go to David French here instead. David French.
Take a shower. My hair, I just cleaned my hair. What do you mean take a shower? I just washed my hair, honey pie. Why, are you DTF? Are you trying to fuck? You trying to fuck? You're trying to fuck. Anybody telling someone else to take a shower is definitely trying to fuck.
We have you. We have the president is focused on America 250 events. He's focused on things where he's trying to reshape physically Washington D.C. And we saw the celebrations out of the White House.
You hate anarchists? Then you must not be American. The great American tradition is anarchism. People that want to live out on the range away from control of government. People who want to live out by themselves or with small communities in order to forge their own destinies. That's the American way. Anarchism, that's the American way. If you hate anarchism, you hate America. You hate the American way of life. I mean, look at Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau. Those guys were proto-anarchists. Those guys, they formed the American philosophy in many ways. In most respects, I think they did. Of course, that always comes into conflict with like John Lockean English, Western European philosophy. But the American philosophy truly was what one would consider today anarchists. So if you hate anarchists, you hate anarchism, you hate anarchist philosophy, you are anti-American. You're just pro-Western European. You're just pro-colonialism, which, I know there's a lot of people out there that think genocide is cool, thinks the fact that we killed all the Indians is awesome, thinks that Hiroshima and Nagasaki are defensible actions. But I'm not one of those guys. I'm an anarchist. Thanks, everybody, for joining. My name is Skyjack Morgan.
Because of the Supreme Court ruling at the end of last week that they could keep building the ballroom. And I even thought to myself, like, okay, that's the first, quote, good news headline that President Trump has received in a while. And yet, even that good news headline for him is not good for the American people. We see polling that this just reinforces the idea that the public is like, well, wait, he's out of touch. He only cares about what he cares about, not what actually impacts our lives.
Yeah, the ballroom is not a political victory for Donald Trump. Every day the ballroom is in the news is a bad day for Trump. This is not something the American people really...
What? You don't think people are stoked that the billionaires have a place to let their hair down? Remember when Lindsey Graham was like, they need a place where they can cut loose and let their hair down and have some of those dang-do famous orgies. Those billionaires, they love having them famous orgies like Donald Trump and Roy Cohen back in the 80s. They had lots of gay orgies, and I just think that that's just the bee's knees. We got to do that right in the White House because we really are just the fall of the Roman Empire. We're basically Caligula at this point. We're basically just living Caligula American style.
Want at all. When you're running through that, the thing that just strikes me when you're running through all of the events that have occurred that are dragging.
You think he died of an anal rupture? No. He died of of a fentanyl overdose, just like Charlie Kirk and George Floyd. They all died of fentanyl overdoses. Don't you know that? Lindsey Graham died of a fentanyl overdose, just like Charlie Kirk. It's all fentanyl. As you know, the fentanyl epidemic, we need to do something about it. Too many people are dying of fentanyl. I mean, it took down Charlie Kirk. It took down George Floyd. It took down Renee Good. It took down Alex Preddy. And it took down Lindsey Graham. It's going to get Jeffrey Epstein. That's probably what got Epstein, but I heard he might still be alive. The only thing protecting you is the law. Some people value freedom over your stuff. AWAR, you don't know what you're talking about. You've already illustrated that. Thank you for being here. People don't know what anarchism is, and that's okay. I get it. You're victims of propaganda. That happens a lot. You do what the corporations tell you. You get that in your brain, and you're like, oh, anarchy is bad. Anarchism, people who think about stuff and want life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, that's all horrible stuff. We hate that. We don't like that at all. We need to do what we're told. We need people in uniforms to tell us what to do. It's funny because like 99% of your life is anarchism. You walk around and don't interact with the government. So like I barely ever talk to cops. I barely ever talk to people, representatives of the government. And I try to stay out of their way, and I try to keep them as far away from me as possible, and I don't want anything to do with them. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Down his approval rating. It strikes me how just intentionally self-inflicted all of this damage is. You know, he comes into office, he inherits a border that was the American people were ready for him to close. He inherits an improving economy, and he inherits a declining inflation rate. He inherits declining crime rates. He was set for really smooth sailing for the next year, the next 2 years, and then he has provoked trade wars. He has initiated an actual war in the Middle East. You're beginning to get a sense that the world itself is spiraling out of control. You have expanding conflicts in Europe. The conflicts in Europe and Iran are starting to merge in some ways. And then this trade, every new headline, it's a new self-inflicted wound. This trade war with Canada, due to remarkable overreach in trade negotiations, it is sinking into the American people that this is self-inflicted. None of this is necessary. None of this is for them.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, you look at the last 2 weeks of columns from Peggy Noonan. Last week, she talked about how he was...
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Hold the phone. I thought the fucking ballroom was for you and me. I thought we were all going to have a party. I thought you and I were all going to have a party. I thought that was the great unifying president. I thought that was Donald Trump's plan, is unify America by having a big party in the ballroom with the drones and the bunker. And I thought that was all for us. Here I had Donald Trump all wrong. I thought that he was doing this for you and me. Ding dang do. I think most MAGers think that they are actually going to party with him in the White House ballroom. I think they really believe that at this point. It's so depressing. They think that it's going to be him, Donald Trump, Kid Rock, Tim Pool, and who's that? Who's the guy? Who's the Jewish guy? Ben Shapiro. It'll be Ben Shapiro, Donald Trump. They'll all be hanging out. Jake Lang. They'll all be hanging out. No coloreds allowed. It'll be no coloreds. It'll be an all white party. Okay. I'm sure that that's what the MAGers believe. They think that they're all going to fit in the White House and have a grand old party. It's going to be great. That's why they bought the Melania coin. It's only going to be people who own a certain amount of Melania coin, like me, who get to go to the ballroom. I sold my house and put all hundreds of thousands of dollars. I put it all into Melania coin, and now I rent, because Melania coin is the future financial tool for the prosperity of the United States of America, according to Donald Trump and endorsed by the First Lady. The best First Lady of all time. She's so beautiful, right? She's the most beautiful, guys. Most beautiful and stylish.
Don't move. Don't do anything stupid, okay?
The traffic stop you're about to see in this police body-worn camera video appears to now be the subject of a...
We need cops, guys. Cops are the answer for everything. More cops, says my anti-anarchist friends.
Federal criminal investigation.
This video was shared with NBC7 Investigates. Alexis Rivas joins us. Alexis, I watched this video, all 12 minutes of it earlier today, which some may find disturbing.
Yeah, the police video shows repeated physical and verbal threats to kill a handcuffed 15-year-old. And the person who made those threats is now a police chief.
What?
Where are you headed? Back to Escondido?
Late September last year, license plate readers flagged this car.
You have your driver's license?
Man, flock cameras. Look at that. Of course it was a flock camera. Surveillance state, anybody? Why are we putting all these flock cameras during the Nazi takeover of the United States of America? So the Nazis took over, and immediately we have all these flock cameras and data centers that are really just surveillance centers, crunching data collected for I don't know, to keep tabs on us all. Weird.
A match to a car seen near a drive-by shooting days earlier. No one got hurt, but a homeowner reported some damage.
Get the front passenger.
The man who pulled this driver over is Chris Palomares, the San Pasqual Tribal Police.
Oh, well, there he is. There he is.
Name's Corporal Palomares, okay? I've never met you before.
The highest ranking officer at this traffic stop.
Here, unlock your door. Don't reach for it. Unlock your door.
Inside the car, 4 teenagers between 15 and 19.
If I find it, I'm gonna over.
That's the driver in the red jacket.
If you tell me, I'm gonna go easy on you.
Oh, yeah. Classic cop shit. If you tell me everything, I'll go easy on you. Trust me, I'm the police. More cameras are good. Like I said, you are illustrating how truly supine you are. You are just lying down for the ruling class to rape you. Congratulations. You're just spreading your cheeks. Go ahead, boss. Go ahead, boss. Be gentle this time. Last time my asshole was bleeding for a week. Oh, my God.
No, I'm not sure.
So Palomares decides to cuff and search each passenger one by one.
You want to detain him?
As Palomares searches the car, he hears an officer say something, and this is the moment that everything changed.
You move, I'll kill you.
What? Why does he have a gun to this 15-year-old's head? If you move, I'll fucking kill you. Now, I've had a cop pull a gun on me before. It was Halloween, and my idiot friend had a paintball gun in his car, and this fucking cop put a gun at my head. He didn't put the barrel on my head, but he put his gun at my head. And it's like, first of all, you're not supposed to put the gun at someone's head, asshole police. You're not supposed to put a gun to someone's head. That's against their training. But they do it anyway. They're cops. Everyone gotta love cops, right?
Okay, yeah. How old are you? Okay, well, you're going to be a dead 15-year-old if you move.
You're going to be a dead 15-year-old if you move. God bless America. Our police are the best in the country, aren't they? Aren't they the greatest? Aren't they the greatest?
What? What'd you say? I didn't say nothing. Get on the ground. Get on your face.
He's pulling it.
Get on your face. Don't move.
It happened fast, so let's watch that again, and this time in slow motion. It appears the other officer is pulling a gun from the 15-year-old.
What?
This is the only angle we have, and keep in mind, he's handcuffed.
You move, I'll kill you. You hear me?
Matthew Kirby Jr. is now 16 years old. He and his mom agreed we could show his face.
Why? Like, I just want to know why. Why was so mad at my son?
Their family now lives in Missouri, but their roots run deep on San Pasqual land, where Rachel was born, where she lived.
Oh, because they're American Indians, and we are carrying out a genocide against the Native Americans, and so it's okay. It's okay to threaten their teenagers to kill them. After all, they're far more likely to be in foster care. They're far more likely to be incarcerated. They're far more likely to be killed by police officers. Even today, the indigenous people of this country are grossly oppressed, like the worst. The worst. If you want to look at who's the most oppressed in America, definitely the American Indians. I mean, we've killed 90% of them. They're almost, we've almost completed the genocide, but it's not over yet. We just, we slowed down on the last 10%. It takes a while to get them all, you know what I mean?
3 decades and where she had Matthew.
He was so close to losing his life.
We played the video for them. This is the first time either of them watched what happened that night.
How old are you? 15. Okay.
The officer knew that my son was 15 years old. And he still continued to pull the gun to his head.
And the whole time I can't physically move. I have handcuffs on, so it's like...
So for him to say that...
You're going to be a dead 15-year-old if you move.
I just don't know what to say. It hurts.
Because I remember that...
Get on your face.
He's pulling. Where both of the officers were kind of tugging with me.
Don't move.
And that's when I thought I was going to die, because he's telling me to lay down and the other officer's picking me up.
Listen.
And I didn't know what to do. There's nothing I could do.
I'm just heartbroken. That just hurts. It hurts to see your son go through that.
In the video, we see an officer pull what looks like a gun out of what looks like your waist. Were you carrying a gun that night?
His family's attorney stopped Matthew from answering that question.
The 15-year-old had a gun on him.
He said to protect Matthew from any future criminal charges filed in retaliation for this interview.
I got him detained.
But even if Matthew did have a gun on him, law enforcement leaders say this shouldn't have happened.
Some of the things that I saw.
Here's the thing. Carrying a gun in America, that's some shit that happens, especially on reservations. People carry guns in America. He didn't point the gun at anybody. Since when, in a country where we have the birthright to carry weaponry, do you get threatened to get murdered by carrying the same guns that we're legally allowed to have by our Constitution? We're allowed to have guns in this country. I have guns. Should I be murdered for that? Why are the cops the only ones allowed to have guns? How come cops are the only ones allowed to take out guns and stick them in the faces of 15-year-olds? Why is that? How come that keeps happening?
Video are not in alignment with what police officers are trained to do.
Paul Capitelli would know because he ran the California Police Commission. It's the agency that sets the standard for officer training that is not required by tribal police.
This is not the way police officers are trained to do business.
You're being detained because you don't have a driver's license, okay?
We asked him to watch the entire body camera video and read through internal reports tied to the stop.
If I were the chief or the employing entity and I saw this, I would immediately want this investigated.
Why?
Well, because there doesn't appear to be, at least from looking at this video, from everything that we see here, there doesn't appear to be a justification.
I'm trying to reach the director of police, Chris Palomares. I tried calling San Pasqual Police Chief Chris Palomares at the station several times, but he never called me back. So we found him at a public event at a park in Valley Center. I asked him for an interview to explain what he did and said, but the police chief told me, quote, on the advice of legal counsel, he had no comment. Hi, is this Chairman Cope? So I called
no comment.
Police chief answers to Tribal Council Chairman Stephen Cope, the highest elected office on San Pasqual Band of Mission Indians land. Appears to be body-worn camera video. His answer was also no comment. And he hung up. It's unclear if the tribe is conducting an internal investigation, but experts told us the Tribal Council isn't the only authority here. Tribal police can still be subject to scrutiny by the state and federal government.
To convict an officer of a federal crime is a very high standard. Just on its face, it looks like it might meet the standard.
We also showed the video to the former U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of California. Specifically, he believes the video may show Palomares abusing his authority as a police officer. A federal crime.
This is potential prison.
And he's not just taking into account the body cam video. This is the internal police report Palomares wrote up about that traffic stop. This is what he said.
These cops are always so stupid. They write this shit too.
Happened on the side of the road.
Palomares wrote he held Kirby at gunpoint while Sandoval placed him in handcuffs.
Right.
Not true.
The video shows Matthew was already in cuffs. Also, Palomares said Matthew was, quote, tense and uncooperative.
But just from the video, it looks like the suspect was completely compliant and was not posing a threat to the officer at all.
Another potential problem? We found false information in this search warrant written up by Palomares. In it, he says he's a California certified peace officer. But we checked with the State Police Commission, and they told us that has never been true.
So he's a liar, and he points guns at children. Wow, I'm sure glad I have so many pro-police people in the chat today. That's so great. I love that. I love that. The general public can't handle freedom. Okay, see, that's what I mean. You're anti-freedom. You're anti-liberty. You're anti-American. I love that. You're just like every other oligarch. They can't handle freedom because I'm afraid. You're afraid of freedom, is what you're saying. You are scared of freedom. That's it. You're afraid, and you think that being excessive force by threatening murder, also putting a gun to someone's neck is not what cops generally do. They don't generally do that. They point guns at your body mass. But there you go. Yeah, he's just a troll, I suppose. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun because they illustrate how contradictory they are and how much of how much like cult followers they really are. They're just cultists.
Democrats are melting down over a report that House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries met with President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to discuss potential areas of common ground with the White House.
Oh, my God, that chip guy. Thank you so much for being here. That chip guy, thanks for being here. You are a scholar and a gentleman. Thanks for hanging out. I love you, baby doll.
Do you see places where Democrats could work with this White House and find some common ground on some policy issues, Senator?
I wish I could say yes. This has been a lawless Trump administration. They've been out of control.
Do you support the fact that Leader Jeffries met with Jared Kushner?
Lawless? I thought that they loved law and order. I thought this was the law and order president. What do you mean he's lawless?
I'm in favor of people meeting with whoever they want to discuss ideas, but it's one thing to have a meeting. It's another thing to see something real come out of that.
And the far left is even more outraged. They're slamming Jeffries for betraying the party.
Yeah.
Rich, the freak out that happened after this meeting occurred, I thought was
Hakeem Jeffries, his days are numbered.
Notable. You know, it's not unlike the president to meet with just about anybody and talk to just about anybody, talk with anyone about anything.
He'll talk about anybody, talk with anybody.
On the far left was interesting.
Well, if Democrats do win the House, to govern the country, they are going to have to speak with the White House. They're going to
I mean, not necessarily. They could impeach him and impeach, convict, remove. It could happen. It could happen. And then we'll have J.D. Vance, and that'll be a glorious day, won't it? J.D. Vance, everybody.
Actually,
are you
maybe
excited?
Republicans, if they win the Senate, it's a different argument, different conversation. But this is what adults do when they have to govern. Now, there is plenty of heated rhetoric. We're in the middle of a midterm campaign, and maybe some of the rhetoric we're seeing right now, this is simply to fire up the base. But for too long in Washington, and this has been a problem with both parties, it's a waiting game of getting control of the House, the White House, and the Senate. And if you don't have that, then you think your job is to simply just resist and, gum up the works. But no, you need to govern the.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what the opposition party has been known to do these days, ever since, Clinton, the opposition party, but especially during Barack Obama, the Republican just became, we're against anything he says. Why? Well, he's black. We can't support anything he says. After all, he's black. He's black.
Country. You have to pass appropriations bills. You have to pass these things every year that are required, are the basic requirements of Congress. So the fact that Jeffries is meeting with the son-in-law of the president, who's obviously one of his most trusted aides, he's around the world negotiating deals all over.
No, it's impeach, convict, remove. You got to impeach just means you put them on like the kangaroo court trial that Congress has. And then they got to convict by voting 2/3 of both houses to get this fucker out to 86-47, and then they remove him from office. It's a fun process that maybe we can do this. I mean, Donald Trump is the only president to be impeached 2 times. Twice he's already been. We're going to make it a 3, going to be a hat trick. I mean, I'm excited to think that he might be impeached 4 times, 5 times. I mean, let's go, baby. Let's just keep on impeaching him. Let's keep doing it. I mean, after all, we have to call him out for the crimes that have been committed. We have to.
Dealing with the Iranians, for God's sake. I mean, this is, you would think that the line of communications are open, so maybe he committed a political sin, but these are the things like you kind of have to do when you govern a country.
Yeah, and Tom,
I got you, baby doll.
Become very upset when Republicans have worked with Democrats in the past too. So should they have met? What do you think?
Well, President Trump met with Mamdani, right? This is not a new thing. You can still meet and talk with people. I would also say it's pretty rich for Van Halen to talk about meeting with somebody when I think he was having some margaritas with Kilmar Abrego Garcia outside of...
Oh, yeah, Kilmar Abrego Garcia! Margarita with Kilmar Abrego Garcia! Oh, my God. Fucking Tomi Lahren. Tomi Lahren, she's back to blonde, huh? They brought her back to blonde. She had to go nuts, but she didn't go straight up the old school, like, platinum blonde. She doesn't want to be one of those bimbos on Fox News. She sets herself aside. She's dirty blonde. She's the dirty right-wing Nazi sympathizer.
So for him to say, don't meet with somebody coming from Van Halen is really something. I just like to point that out. Listen, I think that it's just anything that these DSA people and these people that are obviously ferocious in their pursuit of their socialist candidates and their socialist rule, they're going to be upset with anybody that's establishment. They've decided that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are establishment. I happen to think that most Democrats are socialists/communists. I don't think that there's actually that much daylight between Hakeem Jeffries and Abdul El Sayed.
You don't think that there's a difference between Hakeem Jeffries and Abdul El Sayed? Oh my God! This is how the Republican. This is how MAGers do it, right? Everybody's the same. Anybody who's not a Nazi Party member is persona non grata. Anyone who criticizes the Nazi Party should be made illegal. Anyone who doesn't fit in to their idea of what an American looks like, they are also illegal. Everything's illegal except for the white ruling class. That is the Nazi Party. That is the MAGA Party. We are here. We have front row tickets to see what will happen if America goes full blown Nazi. I've always wondered. Haven't you always kind of wondered?
Don't. But for these people who are wanting to push their socialist candidates and they want to get these victories, they're going to be upset with any time somebody from the administration meets with someone with a D behind their name, and they're going to use it to fuel social media outrage. Nothing new.
Joey, some saw this meeting as an acknowledgement by the White House that Republicans are not going to retake the House in November.
Yeah, so they've met twice, actually. They met a while ago as well. So they had an established relationship of some sort. A couple things here. Well, at the very top, Jared Kushner, Jewish, all the things going on in Israel, that's going to set the entire far left afire to begin with through their anti-Semitism and their...
Anti-Semitism? They're anti-Semitic.
Overall, this lack of Israel in general. So that's going to set some things on fire. The New York Times had 5 sources supposedly read in on this. That tells me that they wanted people to know. Like they wanted to leak this for some reason. I don't know if they're sending a signal to the far left, hey, get in line, or if Republicans leaked it to send a signal, I'm not really sure. But I will say this. I don't think for a second this meeting means that Hakeem Jeffries is looking to work with the White House on anything. This is a race to the bottom. If Democrats take the House and they have a thin majority, just like Kevin McCarthy did, then those socialists that are getting in there, the far left that are getting in there, could be the disruptors that Hakeem Jeffries is going to need Republicans to do things like.
Well, first of all, of course, we need to have far left to answer the far right. I mean, we need people like the Social Democrats to stand up to the National Socialists. That's like the tried and true response. Usually, though, the Social Democrats, they die. What usually happens is the Nazis rise to power, and then the Social Democrats rise to obstruct them, and then the Nazis just kill them. That's usually what happens, or declares their party illegal. That happens. In the case of Hitler, he did both. He declared social democracy illegal, killed some of them, put some of them in jail, paid some of them off, exiled some of them, But the big thing was he made the party illegal. We'll see if that happens. I mean, Donald Trump talks like he wants to make parties illegal, and maybe he could do it with decree, like through his executive orders. Could happen. Could happen. The political pendulum is so far right that the center looks far left to most. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. They pulled the Overton window so far to the right that anyone who even criticizes the government looks like a crazy left-wing nut job. They must be communist. You're questioning the government? Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my clutch your pearls, criticizing the president. How dare you?
Is putting the dangers of communism front and center in its classrooms. Beginning
Fox News, communism, communism, communism. You notice everything on Fox News is communism, 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 communism. That's all they're doing. Every time I turn on Fox News now, it's like communist, 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 communist. And what's sad is that most of the MAGA cultists will fall for it because the repetition gets in their heads, and that's all they'll say. Communist, communist, communist. Communists, look out for communists.
Social studies classrooms will be required to teach how socialism can lead to communism regimes rising up into power. One Florida educator says teachers now have a clearer roadmap on an issue that the far left has given new prominence.
It's allowed our students, our teachers, to focus in on specific events, specific people. It gives them guidelines to dig deeper into history.
We in the West beat the Nazi to give you life? What are you talking about, we in the West? What do you mean? America joined forces with the USSR. By the way, the USSR did more to fight the Nazis than the Americans did. But whatever. USSR is decidedly not the West. But okay, you want to say the West beat the Nazis? The West joined forces with the Nazis after the war in order to fight the USSR. We actually imported all of their scientists and leaders and gave them all big breaks in order to stop the war, gave them all sorts of golden parachutes. We hanged some of them, but the legalist loyalists mostly went free. The judges that enabled it all went free. All the people who really were the kind of the glue that held the Nazi party together, they all did fine. We let them go. In fact, we joined forces with them in order to fight the USSR and create this Cold War thing to ensure that there would be no successful communist country. We needed to make sure that would happen so that we can continue corporatism. I mean, after all, FDR was dead. We had to have some corporatism, right? We had to build up the military-industrial complex. We had to make it illegal for anybody else to build tanks, build planes. We had to make it only our friends were allowed to build planes. We had to make sure that only we were the ones doing it. I mean, it was dirty business, and it was just corporatism, which is just fascism. We like fascism in America. We just never went full-blown fucking Nazi fascism until now. So, I mean, we've always been flirting with fascism. We just never really totally sealed the deal, but we've always liked it here in America. It's been a thing for a long time. We invented it. Most historians agree that like the KKK and those early formations of race-based American ideology, like blood and soil bullshit, all of that was like the beginnings of fascist ideology. But whatever. Why learn history, right? Why learn history? But yeah, sure, go ahead and say that the West beat the Nazis. This is so funny. Hitler lived in Argentina. Maybe. The Boys from Brazil. You ever seen the movie?
And understand communism in a way that maybe other students may not.
Democrat-led. It's funny, Democrat-led. Democrats, you're obsessed, bro. You're obsessed with party. It's really disconcerting. You need to free your mind. You need to open it up. The parties are the same. But within the parties, you do have some variation, like FDR. Though he did a lot of horrible, disgusting things, he was sort of a social democrat. And I think he would probably have considered himself one, even though he was, racist and pretty horrible about a lot of stuff. He did want to kill Nazis, and I don't know. He did want to kill Nazis. My grandfather wanted to kill Nazis, although my grandfather wasn't racist, but he did like killing Nazis. He thought killing Nazis was awesome. My grandfather loved killing Nazis.
Florida Republican Congressman Carlos Menes joins us now. He sits on the House Homeland Security and Select China Committee. Sir, thank you very much for giving us a little of your time this Sunday afternoon. I think you're the perfect person to talk to about this issue and its importance. And I think correctly, there is great reason right now, historical context, to learn about these subjects and to ensure that our students understand history as well. Your thoughts on this change for Florida?
I think it's very good. I mean, the problem is that our students not only don't know anything about communism, they don't know anything about the free market system. They're not taught that. They're not taught the civics class.
They're not talking about everyone in America. They know the myth of the free market. Supply and demand, right? Supply and demand. Polly, what a cracker. Supply and demand, right? I mean, that's what every idiot in school gets to learn. Supply and demand, at least as if that's a real thing. As if we allow supply and demand to dictate anything in America. We do not. I mean, the fact that there's a thing called a tariff shows you that we have never been into supply and demand, right? Free market. We've never had a free market in America. It's a fucking myth. It's not real, you assholes. They don't teach that in American schools. Yeah, that's exactly. They do teach the myth of the free market. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Supply and demand. That's why you hear it all the time. Assholes going supply and demand, supply and demand. Everybody on the left and the right, all of you idiots and Republicans and Democrats, supply and demand. Supply and demand. I hear fucking vegan activists trying to say people can be consumers and somehow consume their way out of animal exploitation. I hear people, they tried it during human slavery, during racial slavery in America. Just stop buying sugar and cotton and all of a sudden everyone will give up their slaves. Trust us. You could buy your way out of this. You could be a conspicuous consumer and be very, very conscious, just conscientious consumer, and you can fight slavery. The myth. We teach people the religion of the free market in America, but it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Maybe I had, maybe you had, and so they need to know. And so our students right now are going into college with a blank slate, not having any historical knowledge about what communism is, the evils of communism, how many people have died under communism.
AWAR, again, you don't know anything about history, bro. The government was run on tariffs. The government was not run on, again, it wasn't run on tariffs. There's this thing called a third form partisan, whatever, I don't care. Fucking, I'm not going to teach you grammar. I think you're a lost cause. But tariffs during mercantilism definitely were a chunk of the government income, but there were all sorts of taxes. Income tax, for the average human during the war was kind of where it all started, like the First World War. But listen, man, that was pretty early on in the history of America, if you think about it. I mean, it was only like 125 years after the birth of our country. So, not so crazy. The modern era ushered in income tax, but there were all sorts of taxes, even from the very, very beginning of this country, that funded the government. A lot of it was business taxes. We don't like businesses paying taxes in America because we like to be slaves to the businesses. So instead of paying income tax, we could literally eliminate income tax and just tax businesses. We could do that. There's lots of ways to skin that cat. All my vegan friends just got really upset. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat, how to fund the government. Lots of ways to fund a government if you want to have a government. Me, myself, I don't think we should have a giant federal government that tells us what to do. I don't think some asshole sitting in Washington, D.C. should have fucking anything to do with me anywhere in New Mexico. Or when I lived in California, I'm 3,300 miles away from Washington, D.C., and some douchebag in Washington, D.C. is telling me what to do, and the only representation I have is some imbecile, some stupid Trumpian magger that I send from my hometown to Washington, D.C., and she doesn't represent me. She represents her party. It's a flawed system. They represent their party. They don't represent the people. There are very, very, very few representatives in Congress or in the Senate that represent the people and not their party. So, why do we need a federal government?
All of the false promises of communism, and that communism is really a threat to democracy. And so I think it's good that we're doing that.
Communism's a threat to the democracy. It's funny because communism literally is a form of democracy.
Level, so that once they go to college and then they get confronted by these far left professors spewing all this baloney, that they're able to fire back.
Stop going to college, Americans, with these crazy ideas of cooperation and collectivism.
Excuse me, no, this is actually what happened here in Russia, Cuba, Venezuela, what's happening right now in Nicaragua. And then
oh, great. Russia, Russia, Cuba. What did he say? Russia, Cuba, Venezuela. Is that what he said? I mean, these are countries that America murdered, right? Is that what he's listing? Countries where America went out of their way to murder the people so that we can keep them from ever being a successful democracy? That doesn't work. Democracy doesn't work with communism. Well, not when you're killing them, that's for sure. Not when you and your friends are blockading them. Not when you're literally sending you're perpetrating a Bay of Pigs against Cuba. Like, not when you're literally like staging coup d'etats in South America. I mean, no, then it won't work. You're right. Democracy won't work when America is putting her giant thumb on the scale and pushing it down and holding all the people down. Of course it won't work. It's communism's fault, though.
They don't get fed, a pile of baloney.
Yeah, we're seeing it happening right now. This new
Pile of baloney
all across the world in a multitude of places, and we've already seen the fallout in some of those places. Again, the same fallout that we see.
It's a pile of baloney. It's a pile of baloney. You don't go to school because it's a pile of baloney. It's a pile of baloney. I've never heard someone call it baloney. I know it's spelt that way, but is there anybody in the chat that calls it baloney? Because it. Like when you see it spelled out, it's Bologna, right? Because it's Italian, Bologna. But baloney is what we all say. We all say baloney. I don't know why we say baloney, but we all say that. But this guy's like, it's all a pile of bologna. It's all a pile of bologna. Yeah, bologna. Do you say bologna or do you say bologna? Everyone says bologna, right? Oscar Mayer says, my baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-E-Y-E-R. I forget how the rest of it goes. Oh, it says something like, it might be lips and anuses, but I eat it every single day. Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A. Something like that. It's assholes and lips, but Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A. Baloney.
Historically, I think it's worth noting as well for our viewers, many of them may know that you are Cuban-born yourself and your family had been forced to flee during the Cuban Revolution. But the way this new history...
This guy's from Cuba and he talks like this?
Standards are laid out in Florida. Very interesting. Grade 6 has a certain... a system that they begin to learn about, and it follows into grade 7, into grade 8. For instance, the early attempts at communal living right here in American society, in Plymouth, for instance, and the early colonies and the efforts there. And then it goes on into high school, where it goes deeper into developing political, intellectual, economic, as you mentioned, origins of communism, and a very layered approach to helping the kids understand how the history has unfolded. Do you think that is a great approach to begin young and to explain all of these systems?
That should be age appropriate. I mean, you can't get right into it until all the evils, et cetera, and really what happens at the end and what Stalin did and how many millions of people Stalin killed in the Soviet Union.
Stalin, though, how many millions of people has the American government killed? The thing is, every nation state kind of has the market cornered when it comes to murder. The greatest amount of violence is not people on people. People are so afraid of other people in America, but the great lion's share of violence and murder is being perpetrated by our government, not by your neighbors, your fellow citizens. You are not to be feared. You are actually more likely to harm yourself in America than to be harmed by somebody else, believe it or not. You're actually more likely to kill yourself in America than to be killed by a fellow American. Or by the government. The American government kills a lot of people. Tons. Just like bodies and bodies and bodies. Just lots of bodies. Lots. That's just, but anything else is a lot of baloney.
And as we end a pretty busy week, considering it's summer and government tends to slow down, but
is that a redhead at Fox? You know what's funny? The redhead at Fox, I was going to say, I was holding back because she was wearing that color pink. Hold on a second. I'm gonna bring her back on the screen because she...
Florida is putting the dangers of communism...
Okay, here she is. Here she is, right back. Here she is. Now, you see this color she's wearing? That pink? I fucking hate that color. Not one. I've never seen a woman look good in that color. I don't know why women insist on making that color. I don't know why fashion designers insist on making that color for women and like pushing it on women. That shade of pink is the shade of a pig. That is the shade of Miss Piggy. It looks like Miss Piggy. It looks like she killed Miss Piggy and is wearing Miss Piggy's skin as a coat. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like she went to the Jim Henson factory and she said, give me 3 Miss Piggies. I'm going to dismantle them and make a coat out of her skin. I hate it. I every time I see this color, it makes me want to say something, but I'm trying not to. If I say those things, it sounds like I'm degrading women. I'm not. But I do wish women would stop wearing this color. I wish they'd stop selling this color to women. Women, please stop wearing this color. I'm not. No, wait. I am not triggered by pink. I love the color pink. Pink is great. There's lots of wonderful things that I love that happen to be the color pink. Use your imagination. There's lots of great things that are pink, but that Miss Piggy pink, that shade of pink, it's kind of like a pastel pink. That pink needs to go. I'm okay with the fuchsias and magentas and all the different pinks. It's just that one shade, that Miss Piggy pink, the color of the flesh of a pig, the color of Miss Piggy. That's all I care. That's all I'm saying. All right? I'm not pink shaming. Sayard Yan. I'm not pink shaming. I'm not. I just don't like the Miss Piggy vibes. And women should not be wanting to be associated with, not that there's anything wrong with pigs, but does anybody want to be a pig? Like, a pig is an animal with dirt on his face. His shoes are a terrible disgrace. I mean, no, I don't hate pigs. I just don't want to be a pig or be associated with pigs. I don't want to date a woman who looks like a pig, right? You don't want to be with a woman who's piggy. Maybe you do. Maybe that's your thing. It's not for me, though. And I wish that women would stop dressing like pigs or in the color of pigs, like this woman at Fox News. It's not because there's women on the other channels that do it, too. Every year around this time, people are starting to get rid of the white. They're starting to wear more pink. They're starting to get more pastel-y as they move into fall. And you'll see this color a lot. It's around, they start wearing it like right in the beginning of spring and right at the end of summer. They start wearing this pastel Miss Piggy pink. Gulp. Jack hates English accents. I don't hate English accents. What the fuck, Nurse Rod? I hate English accents now?
And as we end a pretty busy week, considering it's summer and government tends to slow down, but we had an election, we have new polls, we've got some economic problems for Donald Trump, and we are seeing this is very clearly the summer where Trump's second term unraveled. The polls tanking. He's at 30% overall. Worse on the economy, just tuck and below there at 28%.
I like that look at this, this is Trump's approval rating, 30%. I remember when it's at 33. I'm going to wait till it goes to 29. Wait till it goes to 29. We're almost there.
And if you want to move beyond just polls, which we've all seen the limitations of, there are a bunch of other indicators, several.
Go to Walmart. See how you feel at Walmart. Even Walmart's like, fuck, shit's expensive. My God. Gold coin! Woo! Man, I'm going to use I don't know how much 10 joules is, but I'm going to buy Melania coin with that. Thank you so much, Melania coin. Buy Melania coin, everybody.
Economic that show why the Trump economy just isn't working for people. Consider one of the largest employers and retailers in our country, Walmart, a bellwether there for many things in our economy, and it's posting the weakest growth in years because of the high prices that Trump campaigned against, but has failed to stem.
Shit. Even Walmart's hurting. Even Walmart's hurting America. Look, what's more American this? The golden arches of McDonald's on the same side of the building as the Walmart logo with the kind of like the golden asshole and the golden arches. The Walmart logo kind of looks like a golden asshole, and the golden arches are right there. The golden arches and the golden asshole on the same wall. Beautiful. That's America right there.
In many ways, the supply chain suffering under the war and the gas hikes as well. Then there's a national debt. Now, this is something that kind of exists in general.
I haven't been inside of a Walmart since, well, for years. When I was on the road, I had to go to Walmart because some of these towns in America, it's all they got is a Walmart. So when I was driving through America, those 2 years I was driving around, I had to go to Walmart. That was all that. You don't have a choice.
And has gone up for various reasons. We saw that in COVID spending. We've seen it with Republican tax cuts. So there's nothing new about the debt per se. But with Trump, they rushed through those tax cuts for the super rich, and we're now at $40 trillion. So even though both parties have certainly contributed, Trump is in charge.
40 trillionaires. I like how on MS Now, well, both parties have contributed, but Trump is in power. Just remember, he is the one who's in power now. The buck stops here. He's been in power for 2 years, honey pie. It's so funny to me. Yes, we know both parties suck. Thank you.
Archie has made it worse, and now his Treasury Department is basically trying to do these quick Band-Aids or sugar high fixes to cover up a problem that will not be going away just with the tricks they've tried thus far. Here's how the New York Times puts it. This year alone, the U.S. is on track to borrow over $2 trillion to pay for the obligations, including the war in Iran and those tax cuts, which I just mentioned, that the Times reminds everyone Republicans enacted just last year. And remember, even if Republicans generally try to do tax cuts and have run on them, Trump pledged two big things: lowering prices and no more forever wars.
Yeah, but those... I never thought of I honestly have never thought of the golden arches as tits, but now that you mention it, I think it looks more like spread legs. It looks like the legs are spreading and there's a butthole. It looks like spread legs more to me, the golden arches. But if you say they're tits, they look like some kind of non-human tits. They're kind of like pig tits, like floppy tits that hang under an animal. That's what the golden arches look like. It's so gross, guys. I'm sorry, Mick Arch. I've never thought of the golden arches as breasts, but hey. Thank you. Who are you? Aaron C's World. Thank you, Aaron C's World. Yes. I think it looks like spread legs in a beehole, but whatever.
At least. And so had there been any seriousness about this, they might have said, well, let's get the prices under control. Let's make sure foreign policy is working and maybe go to the tax cuts later. That's not what they did. And so everyone's now paying for it. And a lot of people are mad. This isn't just some Trump critic or liberal Democratic thing. The polling you just saw, the problems with prices, the problems at Walmart, these are things that people are mad about. And by definition, the statistics show it's a lot of former Trump voters who are mad about this.
Yeah, what do you know? Statistics are showing most people who voted for Trump are regretting their decisions. How weird. Jack, I figured it out last night. This world is being run by demons, jinns, invisible. You know, that's such a nice thought to think that the invisible world is responsible for the horror show we're all living through. But I think that that's not productive because I'm not, you know, I know you're just making a joke, but, we like to think of like evil demons doing this or some kind of imaginary creature magic thing happening, or we're in the darkest timeline and there's some other quantum reality where everyone's doing okay. But the truth is we did this. Democrats and Republicans did this. The liberals did this. The Nazis did this. Because we refuse to actually work together to build a better tomorrow, we are fixed in this weird individualistic society where the broligarchs and tech gurus are in charge of everything and we all work for them. We all work for the tech bros now. And I don't know how we're going to get out of it. I don't know how. I have ideas, but it requires blood. And I don't think that people have the stomach for it because we're a bunch of limp-wristed cowards. So, I mean, it looks like greed is a survival mechanism during things like the Ice Age or times of scarcity. Greed is extremely important for humanity to survive, but capitalism and these ideas of hoarding wealth is something where we're rewarding the survival mechanism, which is not good, right? I mean, rape is also a survival mechanism. We shouldn't be promoting it, right? Like rape is something that will happen if there's a boy and a girl left on planet Earth, there's going to be a baby, right? Like that is something that during times of scarcity, you'll see more of that happen, but we don't think of it as a good thing, but capitalism does. Capitalism others, individuals like women. It creates situations where we think of what's in it for me and greedy bastards, and we say that this is what we want. This is the incentive that we want to really push, and we want to form our society based on that. It's sickening. It's disgusting. And power and control. Indeed. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But trans people in women's sports, it's funny. They hate women so much. They hate little girls so much, but that they'll say something about trans people in women's sports in order to pretend like they care about women, but they hate women. They buy and sell women. They buy and sell little girls, and they're totally okay with defending the people who harm children. They're very much into defending those who harm children, especially female children.
Now, I mentioned what the Treasury Secretary has been trying to do. Mr. Bessent has been trying to sort of juice short-term fixes, sugar highs in the bond market, and play defense on the high prices. And well, a lot of folks say his stumbling performance has actually maybe made things even a little bit worse.
We've got a spike in oil prices today that I don't really understand. There's nothing magic about the 40 trillion number, and we can grow our way out of that after the deportations that we've seen during President Trump's administration.
Remember when Donald Trump said he was going to pay off the debt? Now it's at $40 trillion.
And the closing of the border, this unfettered migration, we don't need to produce as many jobs. We're seeing the wage increase, especially in a lot of the hospitality sectors, come down. The wage inflation has come down.
Jobs fell in the most recent report, and Trump's point person says, we don't need to produce as many jobs. You really can't make it up. I mean, as I mentioned, Trump has always been a bit of a bellwether for what he thinks people want. He has been caught lying.
I love this. Like, hey, jobs are, you're not making any new job. We don't need jobs. Jobs? Who needs jobs?
And failing. But when he thought people wanted lower prices, he talked all about that in 24. And when he saw that both parties were sick of forever wars, he talked all about that. Now you have the collision of these two things. And in the summer that it's coming all apart for him, his own handpicked person says, we don't need to produce as many jobs. So if you thought last month's jobs report was discouraging, well, at the top, they apparently don't think they need to fix it. How are you going to fix a problem you don't see? You also heard their wage inflation has come down. But again, this is a kind of corporatist or elitist thing where they're saying, well, salaries may not just grow the way you're used to. And that's before you get to the fact that the high prices have wiped out most of the real wage gains people have. This is not one of those issues where you say, oh, we're so divided and people don't know what's going on and myths and lies online have confused people. The Walmart data is exactly how people are acting, because they are concerned that with high prices, they have to change their behavior.
It's just like when he says Walmart's a bellwether, I completely agree. I mean, Walmart is the largest toy seller, the largest book seller, the largest clothing seller, largest everything, their largest grocer. Walmart, if Walmart's doing bad and we've all put all of our chips on Walmart and we're all betting on Walmart in America, what do you expect to happen? What do you expect to happen? I need a job ASAP. I live with miracles daily. I provided for by God every day, though.
The near all-time high.
I'm glad he's looking out for you.
And credit card debt shows the crunch people are feeling under Trump, to say nothing of the open-ended war. If this is the summer where it all spiraled out of control, don't...
Oh, yeah, no. Donald Trump hates Jews. He just loves Israel. It's a different thing. It's hard. Like, the Jew question has always been difficult, especially for conservatives, because they hate the Jewish religion. They hate people practicing Judaism, but they also love the military and financial pal in the Gulf states. They love having Israel. So it's very difficult. And then you have to decide whether or not Judaism, if Jewishness is a race or a religion. Sometimes it's both, sometimes it's either, sometimes it's neither. So like, what is a Jew, right? Like, it's very hard for their brains to, what is a Semite, right? I mean, Palestinians are also Semitic. So it's very hard for them. But that's what they like. They like that there's nuance and confusion because they could support the state of Israel and still hate Jews. Complicated, right?
Say we didn't warn you about all of the signals going into these rapidly approaching midterms. Now I want to bring in our special guest, Jason Johnson, politics professor with Morgan State University, and MS Now political analyst Molly Jong-Fast from the New York Times. Jason, your thoughts?
This is bad, and I've read several different pieces about this, how bad these poll numbers are for Trump, how much of a concern it is. The people in the White House are like, how low can you go? How low can you go? 30% is terrible heading into Labor Day weekend, which is pretty much where people start paying attention. But I think it's pretty obvious, or we've seen this the entire year. The president is completely detached from the economy that people are experiencing, and that's trickling down to all of his spokespeople. So what you've got is a bunch of congressional candidates out there running around trying to deliver a local message when their boss in the White House is louder than them, and the message right now seems to be, he doesn't care, you got to trust me, and that's why Democrats are doing so well in the congressional ballots.
Are Democrats doing well, or are Republicans just doing very badly? I mean, I think people miss Republicans. I miss Republicans. I know it sounds silly, but I miss Republicans. I mean, give me a Mitt Romney. Give me a John McCain. Give me a shit, man. I mean, I miss Republicans at this point. There are none left. Give me a Tom Tillis. Shit. They're all gone. There are no more Republicans left. There are only loyalists to Donald Trump and this weird fascist Nazi shit, this nationalist socialist garbage that he's doing. They're all gone, the Republicans. Now all we have is Republicans, the ones that like chomos, the ones that are convicted of fraud. It's a plutocracy now. And I miss the Republicans. I remember when Barack Obama got elected, there was a bumper sticker that was very common in America with George W. Bush doing like this. He's doing like one of these, and it says, he's doing like a smile with a jazz hand, and it said, "Miss me yet?" And, I miss George W. Bush. I love that little war criminal compared to what we got now. I mean, it'd be nice to have a George W. Bush at this point. I mean, he was like diet fascism, and I'll take it. I'll take it over full-blown Nazi fucking regime. I'll take it. I mean, George W. Bush invented ICE, invented Homeland Security, invented this fascist movement, and he just let it get away from him. He and Dick Cheney, they invented this stuff. Give me a Dick Cheney. Give me a Karl Rove. Give me a Newt Gingrich. Give me a John Boehner. I miss those guys. At least they like had some semblance of shame when they were caught doing stuff. At least they pretended to care about decency. At least they pretended to care about the Constitution. That's all over. That's all over. Give me a wood chipper for the rest. Yeah. Once the Tea Party happened was the beginning of the downfall of the Republican Party. Yeah, absolutely. And now that's why a lot of Republican pundits now on Fox News and stuff, the conservative pundits are saying that this new DSA uprising is kind of like the Tea Party moment for the Democrats. I think probably true. George W. Bush wasn't conservative enough according to MAGA half-witted embarrassments. Yeah, exactly. That's why they said that about Jeb Bush too, right? Tea Party was already a Russian psyop. Maybe it was. VR, the Heritage Federation, was very helpful to Reagan too. Heritage has been around the right-wing think tanks, but I guess like over this dude saying that, oh yeah, it's the Democrats are doing well on the ballots. I don't know about that. I think people are just missing old school Republicans, and they are sick and tired of seeing MAGAs. They hate the MAGA movement. The MAGA movement sucks. And people are waking up to that. MAGA sucks. It's just Nazism. That's all it is. NAZIMAGA. It's the same. It's just Nazism. It's just National Socialism. Sorry, everybody. Hate to break it to you.
Joining me now is Florida Congressman and candidate for governor Byron Donalds. Thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on your win. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's good to be back with you.
Good to have you back. And as we take a look and turn our attention to this race that you're in, the general election, I do want to start with one of the most...
Dude, Brian Donalds keeps getting caught lying. I can't believe this guy is still going on TV. How does this guy show his face?
Issues facing voters, of course, that is the economy, affordability.
In Florida, they fall for people like Brian Donalds. They just fall for it. Durr.
Prices have gone up for Floridians under the last two Republican governors. If you become governor, how much time do you think you would need, Congressman, to bring prices down?
Well, listen, it's a great question. Affordability is impacting Floridians.
How long until is it Biden's fault?
The first area we want to start is with insurance costs. We're already starting to see that some of the insurance cost loss ratios are coming down in Florida because of the tort reform that Governor DeSantis put into place a couple of years ago. We want to build upon that by doing a couple of things. Some structural reforms to Florida's insurance markets, in our cap fund and other places. We also want to supercharge some of our home hardening programs. These are for the homes that were built before 1992 that were under the previous building code in Florida. We want to harden those homes quickly. We think by doing those things and a couple others, we can push costs down 20%. On taxes, that's actually going to be in front of our voters this November. We'll see what they decide on Amendment 3. If they don't vote for it, we're going to bring that issue back through our Tax and Budget Reform Commission next year with the goal of eliminating homestead property taxes in the state of Florida. If we can't get the math there, then we want to target relief to seniors on fixed income and working families. The third is with permitting reform. 30% of the cost of a new home is governmental permitting costs and timelines. We want to modernize that entire process, shrink those timelines down, pushing down the cost of delivering homes to working families in our state.
Congressman, let me...
Sounds pretty good, man. You must have practiced that one, Byron.
ask you about the broader economic environment. As you know, that's playing a big role in your race and every race right now that we are tracking. Gas.
Although I do hate the whole, I don't know if you caught that. There was a lot there. But the thing about the insurance companies, like tort reform means that you can't sue the insurance companies for, not paying you. Protecting insurance companies is such a disgusting business that the government's in cahoots with these insurance companies that take our money our entire lives and then refuse to pay out the one time you need them. So if you lose your house in a hurricane in Florida and you're like, okay, well, I've been paying for insurance. Thank God I have insurance. And they're like, no, we're not buying you a new house. Sorry. We're not going to repair your old house. You're screwed. And you're like, wait a second, a ding dang do. I've been paying my whole life. What do you mean you're not going to pay up? Why did I have insurance this whole time? Well,
and oil prices are up. Inflation is higher than when President Trump first took office. President Trump says he should be given an A+ on the economy. Do you agree?
A+, 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 A++.
Look, I think the president has done a very good job on this economy, incredibly well. And here's why. Number one, wages adjusted for inflation are up again in the United States under the Democrats with their economic policy.
I do love, you see this gap right here? See this gap right here? That's when Donald Trump hated the numbers. So he fired everyone who counts the consumer price index. He fired all the people who count unemployment. He fired all of them. And that's why there's a gap there. He just decided not to count. Isn't that disgusting? Isn't that a disgusting thing? If you don't like the numbers, fire the people doing the counting.
Wages adjusted for inflation were down, and very much so. That's where the prices just got completely out of control. Number two, when it comes to economic growth, we have had positive GDP growth. It's been actually quite strong since the president's come back into office. Number three, people being able to take more money home. It was President Trump's agenda, myself in Congress, and many Republicans on Capitol Hill that moved to make sure that people who were on tip share weren't getting taxed. People who work overtime not getting taxed. The largest Social Security tax in American in American history for our seniors. A lot of them living paycheck to paycheck. And the fourth one that doesn't get as much credit is the Section 199A. Small business tax deduction that actually kept small business taxes low for our small business all throughout the United States. And we all know that 90% of all jobs come from small businesses in the United States of America.
What was Byron? What did he go to jail for? What was Brian Donald's criminal convictions about? Brian Donald's Byron, not Brian. Byron Donald's. He has legal cases from his youth ended in a pretrial diversion program and no contest plea. They were sealed and expunged, but he had a marijuana arrest at 18. Donalds was arrested for possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. He was a drug dealer. The outcome, he entered a pretrial diversion program instead of going to trial, which avoided formal conviction. The record was subsequently expunged, but we all have to know about it for some reason. So pretrial diversion program, he promised to be a good boy and that type of thing, and probably had to do community service or something. The incident in 2000, he was 21 years old. Donalds was arrested on a felony charge. Political and legal accounts have varied on the exact nature of the charge, sometimes described as bribery and felony larceny. Donalds stated in interviews that an acquaintance convinced him to provide his debit card and PIN to make money, and his account was subsequently used for passing bad checks. Fraud. Fraud and felony bribery. He pleaded no contest and paid restitution and completed a period of probation. His earlier drug arrest and this record was sealed and expunged by the court. Nice. So that's good. But he hates anybody else, any other black men caught up in the mix, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. He hates those people for some reason.
So that's the economic agenda the president has delivered on.
Let me ask you, though, look, inflation was at 3% when President Trump took office. It's now at 3.4%. He promised he was going to bring prices down on day one. Gas prices are up. Oil prices are up. Did he break that key promise, Congressman?
Man, I love her. I think she's I think she's such a great replacement. Meet the Press, I think, is one of maybe the oldest running news shows in America. It's been around for a long time. I think she's a great host. I think she's the first. I might be wrong. She might be the first woman.
Well, no, the president did not break that key promise. I think if we were looking specifically to oil and to gas, we all know that that's the Iranian regime who decided to put a stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz because President Trump.
Because President Trump bombed their school children?
Trump did the right thing in doing what was necessary to stop the Iranians from acquiring a nuclear weapon.
Oh, yeah. It's the Iranians' fault that gas prices are high. It's always somebody else's fault. Why is it that it's never Donald Trump's fault? Could someone tell me, please, in the chat, why is it that it's always every other president's fault, but it's never Donald Trump's fault? This guy, it really is remarkable. It really is truly noteworthy that I've never heard a president not just have his followers just be like, well, the president never did anything wrong. He had to bomb those dirty Iranians, and it's their fault that the gas prices went up. What? Donald Trump said that he was the one that blockaded the Strait of Hormuz. Who did it?
And it's important that we talk about this correctly. If the president just let the Iranians get a nuclear weapon and ignore what was happening from a foreign policy perspective, yes, gas prices would be lower, but the Iranians would have a nuke. They would be threatening our allies in that region. And now we all know they have ballistic missiles. Hold on, Kristen, this is important. We know they have ballistic missiles that can reach Europe. That is a direct threat to our allies all through the Middle East and through Europe.
I thought you hated Europe. What do you mean? Whose fault? Wait a second. Now they got missiles that could come to Europe. It's funny. My whole life I've been hearing about how Iran is going to bomb us all to hell, and that if we don't do something about it, but we can't do anything about it because of the Strait of Hormuz. My whole life, since I was a child, I've known this, and Donald Trump didn't know this. And for some reason, no one's ever been bombed by Iran. No one's ever been bombed by Iran. Even during the Cold War, when Iraq and Iran were like trading bombs, no one ever got bombed by Iran except for Iraq, I guess. So weird.
That would have larger economic consequences on the American people and our allies, not just for this year, but for decades to come.
But President Trump promised he wasn't going to get the United States into another foreign war.
Yes,
now,
he did.
The U.S. has been in the war with Iran for more than 5 months, Congressman. What do you say to people who say that is a campaign promise broken, that they didn't want
What do you
this
say,
war?
Byron?
Well, first of all, I would say look at President Trump's entire record, not just through his first term as president, but even through this one. The president has not put troops on the ground. The president is not committed to never-ending military.
Yeah, that's cowardly. Not putting troops on the ground and killing people from the sky is cowardly. Like, to me, that's also anti-American. Using drones to murder people and bombing, using Tomahawk missiles to destroy schools full of children, double tapping schools full of children, and killing, 169 little girls? Yeah, I mean, I think that that's pretty cowardly when you kill people from far away. It's weird that they call it Tomahawk, right? We name a lot of military stuff after American Indians as a remembrance of how we murdered them and committed genocide against them. It's pretty disgusting, right? It's actually a real thing. Like, we name weapons of war after American Indian tribes and American Indian stuff like tomahawks, and we do that in order to commemorate the genocide of the Native Americans. Like, that's why we do it. That's why the tradition exists.
Entanglements like we saw with Afghanistan and with Iraq.
But he
And I
doesn't
know
have a
that we
way
have
out
so
yet.
many
But he
Americans-
hasn't found a way out yet, Congressman.
But I will also say you have to give the president the room to negotiate the end of the end of these proceedings.
What?
Because at the end of it all, the Iranians were incredibly close to having capable nuclear
Prove it.
weapons. We know they had more than 12,000 pounds of enriched uranium that was weapons grade. The president had to do what he felt, looking at the intelligence, needed to be done today. And I would say when it comes to these
Then why didn't he go to Congress? Make your case in Congress. Like, that's the way America is supposed to work. If the president thinks that there is a clear and present danger against the people of the United States and her allies, then you go to Congress and you get approval to wage war against that country. And he probably could have gotten it because, there's lots of Republicans that just love licking Donald Trump's balls. But, like, you'd think that this guy would at least say, oh, well, he should have come to Congress. This guy's a congressman. But Congress people don't give a shit about the power of Congress anymore. There's no 3 branches of government anymore. There are parties. Nobody cares. You think the fucking Supreme Court gives a shit about their institutional power? Do you think Congress does? Congress has the most sacred job, which is representing the people in government. They don't care. They represent the party now. And this guy is one of them. He's a congressman. And now he wants to be governor. He wants to be an executive. He wants to switch sides. He wants to be on the executive branch. Do you think Florida should elect him?
Foreign policy issues, this is where it becomes very difficult in the press to litigate these things, because whether you're talking a Republican administration or a Democrat administration, the better question is this: would any president the last 30 years stand by and watch the Iranians become nuclear? Would any president stand by and watch it? And I got to tell you, Chris, I believe that answer is no. Do I want to see $4 gas? No, I do not. I don't want anybody to have to pay that.
If there's evidence that they had a real nuclear weapons grade, all that 12,000 pounds and all that bullshit, then why didn't they make their case to the American people and the Congress, just like they did in the lead up to the war in Iraq? When George W. Bush decided that he wanted to murder Iraqis because of 9/11 for some fucking, he had to make the case, and he did, and people wanted it. I was there. People supported the war in Iraq. I protested against it, the second war in Iraq. I protested against it, but a lot of people, they loved it. The Congress loved it. People voted to go to Iraq and kill Iraqis. At least the Congress voted on it.
I know working families just doing the best they can to make ends meet. They see that every day, and it's a struggle. But we also have to understand that if the Iranians had a nuclear weapon, that would put major geopolitical pressure on the United States and our allies, not to mention economic strain on our allies and us as well, because it would give the Iranians more control over the Strait of Hormuz if they had a nuclear weapon.
Oh, more control.
Time, but I do want to let you respond to this. Your Democratic opponent, David Jolly, says voters want change, and he says you are, quote, more of the same. What do you say to voters who see you as a continuation of Governor DeSantis, and they say it's time to change the status quo?
Well, first of all, let's be very clear. People are choosing to come to the state of Florida because they've left New York, they've left New Jersey, they've left California, they've left Oregon. I can go.
They've
on
left
and on.
all sorts of places, so they're
State,
old.
They've left those states for a reason, and they come
because they're
Florida
old.
Florida, it's a common sense state where we prioritize law and order, limited government, free markets. We leave people alone, and they want to be a part of the Florida dream. David Jolly says he wants change, but what I fail to realize is that when you're the #1 state in all of America and you run the list, look at every metric, Florida is #1 top to bottom. Why would you change from that? What, does he want us to be more like Virginia or New Jersey or maybe Connecticut or maybe Michigan?
Inflation has gone up in Florida under Governor Scott, under Governor DeSantis, both in 2011.
I love that. We're #1. We're #1. Florida, no one thinks Florida's #1, honey pie. You could say it all you want. I know you're trying to get the job, but no one thinks the Florida's #1. The reason why Florida has an influx of people, there's a lot of reasons. One, it's cheap. Two, the weather's pretty good in most of Florida. Three, there's a lot of people getting old. A lot of baby boomers are moving to Florida because it's cheap and the weather's pretty good. And you could get a place kind of close to the ocean so that you feel like, you're living the good life. And Florida's nice. I like Florida. I spent a lot of time in Florida. I like Florida. People move there for various reasons, but usually it's not because of the flourishing economy. It's a lot of digital nomads. It's cool in Miami. There's a lot of cool stuff there, but a big part of that is just an aging population. You can't afford, like an old person in an old person in California starts feeling really fucking broke really fucking fast when they're on Social Security. So they move to Florida, and they can kind of feel, it's a little like California, sort of, and they can go there and they can feel like a little bit and they can retire out there. That's all. It's not great for their economy, but it's okay. There's people buying beers and groceries out there. It's good. Humans have always been evil. Now we can see it with our phones globally. I don't think humans are necessarily evil animals. I think humans are very powerful animals, and that power in the hands of stupid animals like humans, like every other animal, just another stupid animal, that power, it creates the power imbalance creates the evil that you're seeing. Yeah. It's always been about the weather. It's a big thing about the weather. Yeah, it's always been about the weather. I mean, it's great if you live in New York and you're 70 years old. It's great to go to, they had a whole show about it called Golden Girls, about ladies from all over America that moved and lived in a house together in Florida. It's nice down there. there's big parts of Florida that are super nice. There's some little cool little towns. It's pretty built out. It's pretty easy to get around. If you don't mind driving, it's nice. It's nice going to Florida. It doesn't snow. So, when you're old and your bones hurt and it's snowing outside, you don't want to live in upstate New York anymore. If you're out from I don't know, if you're from Ithaca or someplace or Connecticut or something like that, you don't want to live up there when it's ass cold. So you move down, or Michigan, it's too fucking cold. Minnesota, so you move to Florida when you're old. It's great. Turn on the AC, live for cheap. Live out your golden years, with the Golden Girls.
2019 to present. And unfortunately, we are out of time. I invite you to come back when we have more time to discuss.
I will come
all
back
of
because
this.
I want to answer that question because that's a very important question. I want to make sure I get to that one.
Okay, fair enough. And we appreciate your coming on very much. We're going to be tracking your race closely. Thank you.
I think she's a great reporter. I think she's great.
Young men are disappearing from the workforce. The share of men between ages 16 to 24 participating in the labor market now sits at just
In a labor market, her voice.
56.1%, a sharp 13 percentage point drop since
Labor force participation. Since 2000, 13% men age 16 to 24. They're just not in the labor force.
2000. And while some are asking, where are the working men? Our next guest says many are stepping in.
I don't know. I wish that I didn't work from the age of 16 to 24. I worked from the age of 13 to 24 for sure. I just fucking worked. I've been working since I was 13 years old. I don't know, man. I wish I didn't. I wish I wasn't a worker since the age of 13. The last reporter was chumming it up with Stephen Miller. She did? What do you mean chumming it up? I think she holds people to account. I think she's pretty good at holding them accountable, but I could be wrong. I'm always willing to be wrong. Is Trump the most pro-war president of all time? I've always said that. Everyone called him he's a peace president, and yet here we are. I told you so. He wants to invade Greenland, Canada, Panama, Cuba. He made actions against Venezuela. He kidnapped the leader of Venezuela, and he's dragging out his war in Iran for as long as he can. He tried to rescue Bolsonaro from incarceration in fucking Brazil. He had a military operation planned to rescue Bolsonaro, who's now sitting in jail. Jair Bolsonaro. And so because it failed, we have tariffs against Brazil. It's disgusting.
into entrepreneurship.
William Fry, who launched American Operator late last year, is trying to offer a fresh alternative. His Austin-based firm helps operators, typically a longtime employee or industry veteran, co-purchase retiring owners' businesses, and Will Fry joins us now. I love that. That is such a cool business idea, number one, but I want to ask you about the men, okay? Sure. The data out there says these guys are just choosing not to be part of the workforce, okay? They're discouraged with whatever the cultural narrative is around toxic masculinity. There's some pessimism.
Oh, she was like palling it up at the journalist ball with Stephen Miller. I don't know. Kristen Welker, I think that she does great interviews. I don't know what she's, I guess like, I guess I would kind of expect, do you remember Joe Scarborough and Mika Scarborough? She and he went to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring because they want access. And so I think they have to play a difficult game. They have to kind of kiss enough ass so that people like Steve Miller will come on the show. Same thing with Joe Scarborough and Mika. They talk shit on Donald Trump all the time, but they want access to the news makers, right? Because they're news reporters and commentators. So that would make sense. I don't want to ever be in that situation, but I think I would understand. Annual White House Correspondents' Dinner, maybe. I guess that would make sense. I mean, they would be both probably sitting in close proximity, and they'd have to be civil. I think that's why that event exists. But listen, man, I'm not going to defend Kristen Welker. I think that media and politicians, and reporters have let us down. But I think she's one of the good ones. I could be wrong.
Are you pessimistic about the American man?
I'm not. That doesn't mean that there's not a minority of folks who think the American dream is dead. I think around 1 in 3 young men think communism is a great idea. And I think
oh no, when it was happening, Stephelson, I thought it was like it was farcical. How many people were going to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring? It made me sick to my stomach. I was sick. I was sickened by it, especially after the shit that Donald Trump said about Mika. And I was like, I would never go fucking. I I wouldn't go talk to a powerful man that I couldn't punch in the face after he said what he said about my wife. I would never do. I wouldn't. I'd say, no, that's too far. But, I mean, they got a job. They want access to newsmakers. I get it, but I don't want to. These people sell their souls, guys. That's their job. That's their fucking job. I wish I was a cat like Oreo. Bro has no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. They fear politicians might boycott them. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they are afraid that if people stop going on Meet the Press, like I'm always amazed because she's hard on during the interviews. I'm surprised people like Stephen Miller even go on her show, but he does. He goes and faces the music. I'm always surprised that even like what's his name? Scott Bessent. Like Scott Bessent is made the fool. Howard Lutnick is made the fool on these interviews, or Tom Homan made the fool on these shows. And I'm always surprised that they keep showing up. But I think it's because, they get their asses kissed. They're promised that they can get enough time to talk. They're promised this big, they want an audience as well. They want an audience to plead their case. Kristen Welker gives it to them. And she treats them with a degree of respect that makes them want to come back.
That's ridiculous. But there's a growing number of folks.
It's a dangerous game, though.
who maybe aren't as allowed on the internet, they're not at home in their mother's basement typing out hateful messages, who are putting in hard work and they think the American dream can be achieved. And you're starting to see that in the numbers, where last month there were around 570,000 new business applications, meaning folks applying to start a new business. That's around 8% higher than last year. But one of the coolest things is if you compare it to pre-COVID, that number is only around 300,000. So another way, we've almost doubled the amount of people who are trying to start new businesses. And so my interpretation of that is when there's risk and uncertainty in life, Americans double down and bet on themselves. They're willing to start a new business. You saw that during COVID. It's how our country was founded by a bunch of small business owners. But obviously, they may not be the ones complaining all over the internet, and normally they're not getting the spotlight on them.
Is the malaise, and there's a legitimate malaise among young men.
There's legitimate malaise. God, how do people talk like this? It's just so depressing that people, real malaise. Dagan McDowell. Where is Dagan McDowell from? Is she from Georgia? Oh no, she's from Virginia. Oh, she's from Campbell County. She graduated from Wake Forest University. Oh, God, I've been out there. I used to live in Virginia. No, she talk like... Oh, that's the voice, man. That's the voice of my ex-wife's my ex-father-in-law. That's why I hate that sound of this woman's voice. No, it's a credible malaise. You got to make sure you get the malaise going on.
Is it less like I want someone or some government to provide for me, and maybe more, I don't want to work for the man. I don't
want to work for the man. If I work for the man and I give the government my money, I want to get something in return. That's communism.
I want to work for a large corporation, and so if they see the path or shown the way to running their own thing, having their own business, does that change their attitude?
I think you're totally spot on. I mean,
Dagan, can you imagine her in fucking Virginia? People, Dagan, get your ding dang do booty over here. We're at Wake Forest University in Virginia now. Get over here.
There's two things here. There's one, young men starting.
Where is Tom Homan from? I forget. We looked this up before. Where's Tom Homan from? Not Tom Holland. God. God damn it, not Tom Holland, Tom Homan. He's from New York. His father and grandfather were both cops. And he has his own career as police officer and started in West Carthage, New York. And then he joined the Federal Immigration Services. Tom Homan from New York, West Carthage.
New businesses, and they're not necessarily getting picked up in the numbers. The second thing is they're entering the gig workforce. And so you see around 17 million Americans who are in the gig economy.
Oh, yeah. King of the Hill is supposed to be Texan, but now he really does talk like a Virginian to me. Because the Texans sound like Mr. Phil. Now, I don't know why you say it's crazy, but I say, like, Texans usually have like a little sing-song. Now, howdy, partner. How y'all doing? Like, Texans usually have a little sing-songy thing going on. But Virginians are always like, no. Now, you don't know what happens when you get a water pot bowl. You got to let a water pot boil, a wash pot in air boils, okay? A wash pot in air boils. Fuck, man.
But I can give countless stories of, I know one guy, he's probably around 25, 26. He went to BYU. He was working in software sales. He quit a year and a half ago and launched a stump
Of course, this guy's a Mormon.
grinding company that now is grossing over $300,000 a year. He's also a part-time coach for BYU lacrosse. And so there's a lot of those stories out there where he's now making more than his W-2. He's not getting picked up in the numbers. And so I think there's a great case to be optimistic about the future of the country.
You know what? Stump grinders matter.
They do.
A lot. And if you know, you know. And they never show up in social media. They're not up there in the headlines, right? Because they go to work quietly every day and do a good job and raise a family and provide for their community. And nobody, they're not out there tweeting and posting and so forth. That's
What is a stump? What is a stump grinder? It's a machine that pulverizes wood so that tree stumps. Great. Trump, yeah, stump grinders. They're not on social media. That's why we love them.
part of the problem here. The narrative is defined by people who spend all day online, not out doing some work.
Wait, where does he live? Because I do need a stump grinder.
Salt Lake City.
No, I'm in Ohio.
Well, he traveled to Ohio?
Yeah.
Well, it's great stuff. Great example. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
All right.
I need a stump grinder. I need someone to grind my stumps, if you know what I'm saying. I think you do. I hope you know what I mean about the stump grinding. I need someone from Salt Lake City. Is he a Mormon now? Do you know how to grind my stump?
I do want to get your take on something that we heard out of Iran. Iran's president today saying it would be better if the war would just end now, while Tehran is in a position of strength. When
This guy looks like he's no
you
nonsense.
hear those comments, especially as there are some indications, right, that Iran may be starting to feel a bit of this economic squeeze from the U.S. How do you read not only those comments from the president, but the decision to put them out now?
I think both parties are in a stalemate right now. And I know they're all kind of making motions. The United States is trying to apply some economic pressure. Iran continues to close the Straits of Hormuz, putting economic pressure on the United States, and basically firing missiles at our allies in the Arab world. Both are hoping the other side will give. I don't see that happening. Our intelligence makes clear that economic pressure alone is not going to have Iran be willing to come to any kind of agreement on ending the war.
But wait a second. We've had economic sanctions against them since I was a little toddler. What do you mean? What do you mean they don't work?
And so what I see right now is a prescription for a prolonged war that's going to continue and will continue to, frankly, hurt the United States economically, but also in terms of our strength in the world. The rest of
So a forever war. It's a forever war. So we're back in a forever war is what you're saying. Cool. That's what we've been. Donald Trump said he wasn't going to get us in any more forever wars. What do you say, Maggers? Why are we in a forever war?
the world is looking at the situation in Iran, and what they see is the possibility of another lost war. That would really hurt credibility of America in the world that we're dealing with, which is
What's one more lost war? We've lost so many at this point. I mean, this is the degradation and crumbling of an empire after all. I mean, like the last 100 years of every empire is kind of a rocky road down. Like we always think of like, oh, and then one day there was no more Roman Empire, but that's not how it works. The Western Roman Empire lasted about 500 years, and then the last 100 years was a sad kind of grind down like a stump grinder. They mulched it, but it takes 100 years. Even like old empires of the Americas, they all last about 500 years. In the last 100 years, they start to fall apart. They get top heavy. They get stupid. People lose all faith in the government, and then they start breaking apart. That's what's going to happen here. That's what happened to every country in Europe. That's why people think of like the Netherlands as this tiny little country. Well, it wasn't. It was this massive, one of the greatest maritime countries in the world. It was an empire. The Dutch had an empire. The Belgians had an empire. And then after a while, they start falling apart, and then they start breaking up, and then they get the little country. Now they're just a little country. Same thing will happen in the United States. We're on that road right now. We're just in that last 100 years where we get to watch as it all falls apart. The center cannot hold. Iran is losing its leverage. Oh, Havoc, you're such a cutie. You're so cute. You're such a cutie, sweet Havoc. You are such a sweaty pie.
It's very dangerous.
Secretary Leon Panetta, always appreciate your insight and your perspective. Thank you.
Portugal, England. England's a great example, right? This empire that was this massive, and our empire is coming to an end. Like, it takes a while for a civilization to crumble, and then you'll have whatever's left over. France is a great example. I mean, the French Democratic Republic of France. I mean, the constitutional democracy of France. How old is the current constitutional democracy of France? It's only 67 years old, 1958. I mean, like, think about France. It had an empire. 1950, the current France as we know it today is only 67 years old. It just has the same name, but the empire has crumbled. And now it still has the same name, France, but it's not the France of 100 years ago. I mean, shit, the Republicans and Democrats aren't the same thing as 100 years ago. This is how stupid people are. They're like, Democrats started the KKK and the Republicans freed the slaves. That was like almost 150 years ago, buddy boy. A lot's changed since then. The United States government, we've had a long, good run. And if you think about American society, starting with Jamestown in 1610, I want to say, we're about 500 years in. And most great empires and big societies and giant civilizations like the America, today, the United States of America, it lasts about 500 years. And then that last 100 years is just the slow grind all the way down until it's all broken up. Eventually, there will still be an America. It'll probably be like the 13 original colonies or something, and the rest will be free. The rest will be free of the shackles of the United States government, and we'll have something new. We'll have something different, just like they do in Europe, just like they do in Egypt, just like they do everywhere. Well, actually, all over the pre-Columbus America, there were empires that went up before white people discovered America. There were people living here, and they had empires go up, last 500 years, and then crash. It seems to be that's the life cycle. No matter what, no matter when. Pretty rad.
President Trump's new threat against Iran, which includes imposing economic penalties on any country doing business with Iran. Beijing's foreign ministry spokesperson says sanctions and pressure tactics are not the solution. Iran, for its part, is vowing to prosecute and imprison anyone who carries out President Trump's so-called economic D-Day against Tehran. It comes after the president vowed to impose the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country and demanded that other countries stop doing business with Iran. Joining me now, CNN senior military analyst, retired Admiral James Stavridis. Thank you so much for being here. Look, this is part of the president's new strategy to crush Iran financially as opposed to bombing Iran constantly. Is this strategy one that appears to be a better choice?
It's the best of a bunch of bad options, Sarah, meaning the president could go back to full-blown hostilities, drop lots and lots of bombs. That's very expensive, both in terms of finance for the munitions themselves and potentially the cost of our brave men and women in arms. So bad option. He could also simply wash his hands of this, no pun intended, given the maritime character, and walk away from it. Again, really bad option. So what's he left with?
I don't know. I think walking away right now is not a bad option. I think walking away, he can be like, we declare victory, no nuclear weapons. He could just lie. I mean, he could just lie and say, we won. We got rid of the nuclear weapons. I don't care about the price of gas. Don't care. You're just going to have to get used to expensive gasoline. I mean, he should just say that. Just do it. Just lie. That's how you got us into this war. Lie to get us out. He's a fucking liar. He can do it he could do it very easily. But instead, there's a cash grab going on. There's people making billions of dollars, and he likes making his friends lots of money. His sons own drone companies with contracts with the American government. If you want to build drones and have multi-billion-dollar corporate handouts from the government and corporate contracts from the government, you need a war to go and say, look, we need these drones. We need to give my sons billions of dollars for these drones. But if he wanted to get out of it, he could easily be like, I wash my hands clean of this. I don't like it anymore. I don't like war. And I hate war. And we bombed them into the Stone Age. We bombed all of their nuclear weapons. They have no more nukes. And that was the goal.
essentially what you see right now, which is a blockade along the Iranian coastline. You're showing about 1,000 miles of Iranian coastal ports. They're all under blockade. From all I can see, the Navy's doing a reasonably good job at this. It's putting pressure on Tehran. Final thought brings us to the present moment. It's not enough to make it happen quickly. So now he is trying to enlist the rest of the world to step in and be part of this blockade. I think that's going to be problematic, and China is only the first country that's going to decline the honor of being part of the blockade of Iran.
Yeah, all these countries.
You guys are all in it with me, right? We all hate Iran now, right? Guys, we got to get rid of all these, or we got to blockade them, all my friends.
Wait a second. You called all of us names for the last 2 years. We're not friends. We're not friends. You tariffed all of us. Why would anybody side with America right now on a blockade of Iran or anybody else? Why would anybody side with America on anything when Donald Trump is literally fucking us all? You think it's bad here. You think it's bad here. It's bad everywhere. People can't afford a pot to piss in because Donald Trump has turned into declaring trade wars on the rest of the world in this mercantilist fucking 19th century view of America, of the view of the world in which economies are zero-sum games and the world is divided by winners and losers, and that some human beings don't get to live and don't have rights and some should. I mean, this is how Donald Trump sees the world. That's how they saw the world in the 19th century, and he likes that vibe. Lots of tariffs, lots of spheres of influence ideas, age of empires. He loves that shit. He loves that shit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Compagno, along with Paul Morrow, Jessica Tarloff, Jesse Waters, and Greg.
Start a food garden now, man. I'm trying. Strong Flower. I'm working on it. Strong Flower. I want to build a water catchment system so that I can water. I live in New Mexico, where like it's easy to garden here because we have so much sun, but it's hard to like not make yourself poor by using water for your garden. It's like because water is an issue. But I do want to have I want a Liberty Garden. Yes, I want a Liberty Garden, baby. I want a Liberty Garden. Yeah, I'm working on it.
It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is the 5. More big tent baloney from the Democrats. Chuck Schumer back.
Man, they're saying baloney a lot. At least she said baloney instead of Bologna.
Pedaling after seeming to
Is that did they send a memo out? Why is everyone on Fox News saying baloney today? Have you noticed that? She's the third one to call it baloney. What is going on? It's like the propaganda. Like you have to have a centralized source. Like we're all saying baloney, right? We're all wearing blue and we're calling it baloney, okay? Is that what we're doing?
Michigan as part of the Democrats' path back to a Senate majority earlier this week.
We're all wearing purple and we're calling it baloney. Everything they say is baloney.
Now.
And they even spelled baloney wrong. That's not how you spell baloney. As my baloney has a first name, it's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name, it's MEYER. I know it's lips and assholes, yay. But Oscar Mayer has a way with BOLOGNA. It's BOLOGNA. What are you doing? It's BALONEY. This is why everyone who watches Fox News is illiterate. Here's evidence right here. This is why no one who watches Fox News is able to read properly. Baloney. If they put Bologna, you'd have a bunch of idiots going, now what's Bologna?
Praises of radical Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed and cozying up with socialists who want to abolish the very chamber he wants to lead.
Socialists.
We're a big tent party. And, not everyone has the same exact view on every single issue. The bottom line is we're going to win Michigan. Let me tell you why we're going to win Michigan. First, El Sayed has brought in new energy and new talent into
the heat in New Mexico. I don't think it's oppressive. I'm fucking comfortable, man. Usually when I do the show, I put the AC on, but I normally don't even have the AC on in my house. We just insulate our homes. But my home was built in like 1940 something.
The Democratic Party.
But Schumer's peace offering was met with a punch. Florida Democratic Senate candidate Angie Nixon spitting on the olive branch, telling CNN she wants to chuck Schumer.
Oh, I love this. They always use this. They always use this photo of her with the megaphone. You guys are really afraid of the megaphone, huh? MAGA, why are you so scared of megaphones? Why are you so scared of freedom of speech?
Is it because she's black with a megaphone? I wonder how the MAGA brain works. Is it white people with megaphones, A-okay, black people with megaphones, no? Like, how is it a combination of the two, or is it just the megaphone that triggers you? Is it the megaphone that triggers you? Or is it the fact that she's black with a megaphone? Like, if it was just a megaphone with a white person or no person, if it was just a megaphone, would that be triggering? I think Angie Nixon's awesome too, Smoking Blondie. So far, so good. I like her. So far. I mean, as far as politicians go.
Well, what about Chuck Schumer? Should he be the majority leader if Democrats take back the Senate?
No.
You know, I think I would possibly be looking elsewhere when I become the next United States Senator in regards to leadership. And I mean, we need to make sure that we have people who are centered on people, who are working for people, right? And so again,
do you think Schumer is going to support your campaign? Do you expect Democrats in Washington to send money to help you win?
I actually have Democrats in Washington already sending me money.
And check out what Vice President J.D. Vance had to say today, slandering El Sayed over unearthed comments he made as a medical student in 2009.
El Sayed, this guy running for Senate in Michigan, he once argued, not too long ago, that criticisms of Sharia...
Sweaty pie, sweat havoc. Look, baby doll, don't get triggered, honey pie. What is leftist What part of leftist ideology do you not like? Protecting children, helping each other, dominating technology so that we work together so that technology benefits people instead of profit. Which part don't you like about leftist ideology, honey pie?
...law were rooted in white supremacy. I'd love to go back in time and tell my papaw that there's a man who claims to stand
Tell my papaw
for working people who says not only should we have Sharia law, but if you criticize it, you're a white supremacist.
This guy's he always does. J.D. Vance, he's going to be the president until we all die. J.D. Vance is going to be the last president of the United States. J.D. Vance, because he could do that, like, my papaw. Now, my papaw, he makes all these morons, like, think that he's some kind of down homie. Oh, he's just like me. He's just like me. He's like me. He calls his papaw.
Paul, make this make sense.
I don't know if I can do that. The show's only an hour. So a couple of things I would say. First of all, unsolicited advice for the Democrats. Let's take a page from Greg's book and ban a phrase. No more big tent. All right? That's all you're hearing about big tent, big tent. If you're going to compel people and you're going to try to convince...
They've said big tent since I was a child. That's what Democrats have always said. Big tent party. They've always said that. Big tent. Why don't you like big tent? You don't like tents? You don't like tents?
Of something, you got to use ideas, right? Can you imagine what this big tent would look like? It would be like a wedding where both sides hate each other and they're ready to exchange gunfire. This is not a happy big tent situation. Let's do Schumer.
It's called politics, buddy. There's a lot of hatred in politics, and they all try to, like, hang out, drink together so that they can try to get some shit done.
Here's what's really going on with him. First of all, right out of law school into government. He's never had a job. This guy's never had a real job. He's never made more than $200,000 a year. Whatever he makes now, 180, I think, as a senator, and he's worth millions. I don't know how that happened. But he's never had a job. And so what he's terrified of, despite being in his 70s, is getting voted out because there's a very good...
Did J.D. Vance ever have has J.D. Vance ever had a real job outside of politics? He just wrote that book, right? He worked in the Marine Corps and corporate technology. Yeah, he's a corporate broligarch type guy, right? He enlisted after high school in the military, in the Marines, and he served as a combat correspondent. Okay, so like he wasn't one of the killing Marines. Worked as a postgraduate law clerk for a federal judge after graduating from Yale Law School. Okay, he wrote his book, The Hillbilly Elegy. And then he worked as a tech advisor in Silicon Valley, worked for Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel and he are great friends. And then he got into politics. Like, not really an illustrious career. He got picked up by Peter Thiel, indoctrinated, and put into government. So basically the only real work he's ever done is the Marine Corps. I mean, I think writing is real work, but I mean, he wrote his best-selling Hillbilly Elegy, and he worked for a federal judge for a very short amount of time as a law clerk. That counts, I guess. But like, still, these guys throwing around shit like never had a real job. Like JD Vance never had very little work experience.
Chance that AOC is going to come in, she's going to eat his lunch, and all of a sudden he's going to be like, well, wait a minute, I got to throw myself on the open market here. He is a lawyer, but he's never practiced. So he's worried about that. The other thing is that he goes out the door that way. He goes out with his reputation in tatters. Why? Because he helped groom all of this stuff, all right? He has been part of the Democratic establishment that has been feeding the shark, hoping to get eaten last, all right? Now, let's move on to, Angie Nixon here, because she's part of that. I know she's trying to walk away from everything else. We've all seen the stuff on the internet. You don't walk away. The internet's forever. We all know that. She's DSA. She is part of this new guard. And you know what? What's happening now is the old guard, whether it's Schumer or Bashir in Kentucky, they're all stalking the DSA, begging for a date.
Yeah, just like the Republicans did when the Tea Party came around and turned the Republican Party into the Nazi Party. This is always how it shakes out, everybody. It happens over and over again in the history of the world. You have somebody called, they don't always have the same names, but luckily last century, they were called National Socialists and Democratic Socialists. Same thing today. We have National Socialists and Democratic Socialists. Now, we're not calling MAGA National Socialists, but that's exactly what they are. They're just Nazis. And then you have the Democratic Socialists trying to fight them. But throughout history, every 100 years, we seem to do something similar, where there's a group that's similar to Democratic Socialists, same ideas, and someone who's similar to the Nazis, same ideas. And every 100 years, we got to do this shit. And it seems like they're crazy and they're all trying to get together and do stuff. Yeah, of course they are. What the fuck do you expect to happen? There's Nazis. When there's Nazis at the gate, you need some Democratic Socialists to fight them. And then the Nazis kill them. And
They're all like, guys, Big Tent, come on, we can get together. Come on, go just go for pizza and a movie. Or they want nothing to do with you, all right? If they're like, Schumer right now is great. You'll notice he's like the old guy at the end of the bar in a toupee who's wearing clothes that are 40 years out of date, who's eyeing up the young women coming into the bar and going to wander over and go like, hey, the pickup line is, have you heard the new Doobie Brothers album? It's really boss, all right? They want nothing
It's really
to do
boss.
with you. Forget the Big Tent. They don't want to burn the tent down. They don't even recognize the landscape that the tent is pitched on. And so as a result, there's no commonality there. He right now, Schumer, is worried about being out of a job. It's not any deeper than that.
What do you predict, Jessica, is going to happen? With Chuck especially, and the whole conundrum that Paul's laying out, where he created Frankenstein's monster that are now seeking to disrupt.
it's so funny. People say this about AOC. She's stacked and all this. It's funny. I haven't seen any videos of AOC looking stacked except for the one where she's dancing in college. And I was like, man, she looks pretty cute in college. But I mean, she was a college girl having a good time. I don't know. AOC's great. I think I still think she's a hypocrite. I still think she's just another politician. But I could be surprised. I mean, I'm being surprised by Tallarico. I'm being surprised by Mamdani. I didn't trust Mamdani, but Mamdani seems to be actually keeping his promises. So I could be wrong. I just don't really trust AOC. But maybe I just don't trust her. The whole green. I just think she's a hypocrite. But I could be wrong. I might be wrong.
Him while he simultaneously supports them in it, weirdly.
Well, I certainly think there's a strong chance that Chuck Schumer doesn't run for re-election. He'll be 76 years old. It's a perfectly reasonable time not to run. And yeah, if AOC wants that Senate seat, I think that she'll be able to get it.Maybe Pat Ryan jumps in. It would be an interesting call.
That's true. I mean, when she was elected, I was a bit more excited about AOC because she was from the same industry as me. I spent most of my life in food and beverage management and hospitality, and she's my type of person, the type of person that works hard for a living and takes care of people and sees and knows how to work as a team and all that rest of the good stuff. I think that when it came to the green initiatives and stuff and her big talk about the environment and all that, notice how I haven't heard her talk about that for a long time, and I think that mostly it was hypocrisy. Like a lot of these fair weather environmentalists, they say that they care about the environment, but they're not actually doing anything about it. And she thinks that it's almost like a Leninist idea that you have to caucus with all of these parliamentarians and try to get stuff done through the government and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, if you're not gonna walk the walk, then don't talk the talk, right? You're gonna talk this big game about the environment and Green New Deals and all this other shit, but you're still like scarfing down burgers and going to the Met Gala. Sorry, I think you're a fucking hypocrite. That to me was very annoying and made me lose faith in AOC. I could be wrong. That's all I'm saying. You trust socialists as far as you can throw them. Nowhere. Now, where's my catapult? Well, you start with Donald Trump. He's a socialist. He's a national socialist. You're welcome.
This morning, the Trump administration.
Shit. That was a mistake. I got to go back. I wanted to see. what Jessica Tarloff was going to say.
He's terrified of, despite being in his 70s, he's getting voted out.
Oh, come on, Jessica.
Here we go. That are now seeking to dethrone him while he simultaneously supports them in it, weirdly.
Well, I certainly think there's a strong chance that Chuck Schumer doesn't run for re-election. He'll be 76 years old. It's a perfectly reasonable time not to run.
Yeah, I hope he does not run again.
And yeah, if AOC wants that Senate seat, I think that she'll be able.
So you see this color pink, it's almost the color of the Miss Piggy. So she's borderline. If she goes just half a shade lighter, she's Miss Piggy. I'm not anti-pink. Jessica Tarloff, she's on thin ice though. I don't want that Miss Piggy color. She's still got like a little bit of, that's that actual, you see what I'm saying? You see the difference between her and and Dager?
To get it, maybe Pat Ryan
No, Dager wasn't the one. Who was wearing the pink? I forget.
jumps in. It would be an interesting contest of ideas there. But you are ignoring another side to what's happened in this cycle vis-a-vis Chuck Schumer, and that he recruited Roy Cooper in North Carolina, who's lapping Whatley, Sherrod Brown in Ohio, and Mary Peltola in Alaska, who was hesitant to run. So he has had some wins on the board. Obviously, what happened in Maine and Michigan was not what he intended. People are focused on ideas more than they are on labels. Florida, I think, remains a pipe dream for Democrats. I think that Alex Vindman losing is a blessing in disguise because we won't necessarily be spending, tens of millions of dollars there, and we can send it to Georgia and Texas and Iowa. Oh, I should know that Chuck Schumer backed Josh Turek as well. But I think that there is a contrast worth paying attention to between what we're hearing from even Angie Nixon, who you said she's DSA. She's been DSA for like about 60 days, identifies as a capitalist, as a small business owner. But she was asked about whether joining. Okay. Yes, she's a resist lib. Okay, yeah, put her in jail. She was asked about whether joining the DSA is a distraction. She said, you all are the ones who are distracted. I'm actually going out talking to voters about the things that matter to them. The fact remains that there are people who are dying because they don't have access to quality health care. That is true. There's one party that wants you to have health care, and the other that doesn't care has been promising us a plan for like 10 years at this point. Then you have the vice president today in Ohio. We rolled this clip where he's talking about Sharia law. The more important stuff he was talking about was quality of life. He says, we're finally seeing the American dream of home ownership accessible again to young people. The average age of home ownership just hit 40 years old in this country. Mortgage rates are up, construction is down. That's directly related to the war in Iran. And then he also said, I believe in November we'll face a choice. Do we demand a government that serves us rather than the fraudsters and the criminals? Do we demand that the American president fight for the American people first?
Well, that's a good question. Should we demand that the president fight for the American people? I mean, I think that ship has sailed, but I mean, that should have been the demand, I don't know, 1980? Maybe they should have made that demand back in 1980 when Reagan was bringing back suits and ties to the White House and shit. After good old Carter brought, rolled up sleeves and jeans to the White House and said, let's get to work, y'all. Reagan came back and said, no, we want ballrooms and suits and ties. We want to look cool and look real swanky. Maybe we should have thought about that when they got rid of fucking Carter. But unfortunately, the oligarchs have it. The oligarchs won, man. This is it. Should we have demanded that the president and the Congress actually represents the people instead of their party and the oligarchs? Yeah. But I think it's over.
70% of Americans say Donald Trump isn't focused on lowering costs, doesn't care about people like me, and 70% say that his businesses influence how he makes political decisions. He's made $2.2 billion. J.D. Vance is describing his own government, the fraudsters and the criminals, and Americans will vote based on that.
How quickly you
Damn, Jessica Tarloff doing God's work over on Fox News.
forget Doge, and how quickly you forget the resistance to Doge.
Forget Doge. Yeah, Doge. Where's my Doge check, son?
And all the credit. You guys were destroying Musk's cars over Doge because he was finding all of that fraud, and you guys tried to destroy his company.
He was also firing all the scientists, everyone who knew something, and then had to beg for them to come back.
California just passed a law against Nick Shirley. Yeah.
I mean,
Nick Shirley, though. Nick Shirley.
Well, I'm with Paul here. Schumer is going to lose.
Of course you are, you freaking closeted homosexual. This poor guy. I just can't wait for this guy to crumble. Imagine when it comes out, when they make the biopic of Jesse Waters and it's all just Grindr accounts and fucking crazy backroom sexcapades with men.
His big fancy office and his big fancy title, no matter what happens in November. He needs Maine and he needs Michigan. Abdul and Troy the logger are not his guys, but he has to back them, and it's emasculating. Cocaine Mitch would never do this. Remember Carrie Lake? Carrie Lake came at Mitch, and Mitch told all the donors, no checks to Carrie Lake, and she lost. Schumer can't do that, so he has to pretend to love Abdul. So it's Jewish, Muslim matchup. I'm enjoying watching this
Big
very
tent.
much. Although Donald Trump does say that Schumer's becoming a Palestinian, so it's a little bit of a wash there. Abdul has a lot of energy. We'll give him that. But there is a lot of drip, drip, drip. He has to look like a patriot. And every time you hear him talk about Sharia law, white supremacy,
No one has to look like a patriot to win in this country. You think Donald Trump looks like a patriot? Donald Trump hates this country. He calls it a shithole every day. He's always talking about how shitty this country is. He's turning the White House into fucking Disneyland. It's disgusting.
and his mother-in-law financing jihadists, allegedly. You think this guy's not cut out for the Senate, this guy's not cut out for this country. Now, Schumer's got a lot on his hands with Ange. Ange backs reparations. Ange wants to take away my health care and give it to Fauci.
Yeah, the healthcare, Fauci healthcare, okay.
Ange is for price controls. Ange is a lunatic, and she's got a mouth.
Price controls, and she's black. She's got a mouth.
Ange says that ICE is going to start killing blacks. Ange says she won't work with Republicans because they want to kill her. Ange is all this, she's running on hate. And you got to run
I don't work with people who want to kill me. I don't know that that's running on hate.
on love, Jessica. And the voters can tell. You can want to change America, but you have to do it and come from a place of love. And we know when you're coming
Yeah, a place from love, like Donald Trump. We're coming from a place of love. We know you're coming from a place of love.
from a place of hate. And we know when you're coming from a place of love.
Like a Muslim ban, a place of love.
There's terrorism all across the country. You remember Barack Hussein Obama's administration?
And it wasn't all Muslim countries, but that was a good way to brand it as a
Yeah,
Muslim ban.
yeah,
There
yeah.
were Muslim countries that weren't banned.
There were some Muslim countries that weren't banned. Yeah, the ones that play ball.
Okay, you know, it's good to remind people what Trump's support was like. He had a lot of weird and odd people who backed him, and we called it a pirate ship. Because even though everybody was different, they all rowed in the same direction. Big party's opposite. They aren't rowing in the same direction at all because they don't have ideas. They just have identities. Now they're paying for it. The normies are in trouble. They can't differentiate themselves. They can't say they're common sense because that's Trump's path. Here's the problem. The bigger problem with Big Tent.
Trump's path is common sense. He started a war in Iran for no reason. He started a war in Iran for no reason, has killed thousands of people, and he's Mr. Common Sense?
You got a small group of super far left fanatics who want to tear down everything. But there's a much bigger group of regular Democrats who don't. Okay, so if you welcome the radicals into your tent, some will join, but then some normies, they're going to leave. That was what was happening in 2016 to 2024. So the net change is the radicals who join minus the normies who leave. And all you need is a few regulars because it's such a large group. Even a small percentage who leave, the party's going to end up smaller. And it will end up smaller. Trust me. Gaining a few intense radicals is not enough to make the loss, losing the larger number of normies. It's like somebody deciding to add X-Lax to the office candy bowl. Pretty soon, everybody's going to start bringing their own snacks from home. So this is a
What the fuck, bro?
pattern for Democrats. I love patterns. It's like women's sports and locker rooms. You know, the original purpose was
Women's sports again. Women's sports, let's go.
fair competition based on biological sex. That was diluted. The female athletes leave. Protestant churches, do you remember when they used to be traditional? Then they incorporated far left positions. Membership dwindled, while traditional churches, as you
Protestant, first of all, Protestantism has literally has the word protest in it because they were Protestants. They've always been kind of considered. There was a bloodbath between them and the traditional Catholics. That's one of those great every 100 years type of situations between those in the hierarchy who have control versus those that want to put more power to the people. And that was the Protestant Revolution. That was a whole thing. Martin Luther and all that.
see flourish. So whenever the left decides to allow the elites, kind of the elite fringe in, mainstream falls apart because the mainstream groups need boundaries to create cohesion and meaning. And once you insert people who want to upend the normies feel betrayed, and then they disengage and they leave. Another example, Daughters of the Revolution. Can you destroy them? Yes, you can. By allowing trans into Daughters of the Revolution. They can't be daughters. In fact, that's a complete betrayal. You let them in, Daughters of the Revolution, actual members will leave. Even though there's a Sons of Revolution, the trans don't want to do that. So the Big Tent pretends to be this enrichment.
Dude, how does he make this about trans? How the fuck did it become about? Why is it that every time anyone's talking about anything, maggers make it about trans people? How does that happen? Like, it happens in my chat. People will always be like, well, trans people, though. What is it with you guys? You're obsessed. You're obsessed with trans people. I don't think most of you assholes have even met a trans person. Declaration of Independence includes disparaging remarks about Native Americans, referring to them as merciless Indian savages, which reflects the negative attitude. The Declaration of Independence does? This portrayal framed indigenous people as a threat to the emerging United States despite their own sovereignty and land. Well, I'm not really going to go into that right now.
When it's actually an erosion. The inclusion benefits only the outliers, but in the
I can't with Greg Gutfeld anymore. He's just such a fool. I mean, what are we talking about? Why did this become, we're talking about Angie Nixon and we're talking about trans people all of a sudden?
This morning, the Trump administration is set to unveil what it's calling an economic D-Day against Iran. Economic penalties it promises will be the toughest in history in hopes of triggering an end to the nearly 6-month-old war. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent writing, the sanctions will be the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary, saying the goal is to sever every economic lifeline until Tehran stands alone.
Yeah, he's supposed to crack jokes, but I think the only joke he had was that the candy bowl thing. If you put X-Lax in the candy bowl, people will start bringing their own snacks. I don't.
Iran responding with its own threats, warning if the economic war continues, not a single drop of oil will be exported through the Strait of Hormuz, and the conflict may be spreading in cyberspace. Hackers believed to be based in Iran have already hit American infrastructure, apparently targeting water systems in 7 states, and now British officials are reporting a similar attack.
A small-scale energy generator was attacked and shut down for 4 days. The Telegraph newspaper reporting it was an Iranian cyber attack. Nobody lost power, but the government is taking this incident seriously.
Meanwhile, a second economic war, this one with America's neighbor. President Trump's 50% tariffs on Canadian goods took effect this weekend. Canada's prime minister is now vowing to match them, dollar for dollar, beginning September 8th.
We've got the reserves, we've got the resilience, we've got the plan, we've got the focus, we respond.
Trump's trade policies appear to be rattling Republicans. Just 10 weeks before the midterm elections, Maine Senator Susan Collins, breaking with Trump on the tariffs, is not expected to appear with Vice President J.D. Vance when he visits Maine today. And at least 8 Republican senators from farm states are now publicly opposing Trump's plan to lower tariffs on imported beef. The anxiety reaching the president's inner circle. Sources say Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, recently met with House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, looking for common ground. Jeffries could become the House Speaker if Democrats take back control of the House this fall.
Now, as for those new sanctions on Iran, the Trump administration hasn't said yet what they'll include or how they'll be enforced.
No, yeah, new sanctions and new things. Never made one joke. He makes jokes, but they're not really jokes, right? They're just kind of using some scapegoat as the butt of a joke. It really is kind of sickening. I know that Trump said the Declaration of Independence was a day of love. Did he say that about the Declaration of Independence? I mean, I know that the Declaration of Independence mostly about the tyranny of the English, about King George. And the thing about it mentions how the English were hiring Native Americans to kill colonists in order to keep them from, it's easy to say it was very complicated in the beginnings, but also the Second Amendment, largely the history of the Second Amendment is we wanted guns to kill Indians and blacks. That's why why the Second Amendment exists. People like to think of the Second Amendment as this thing where it's how we're going to fight the government or something. And that's a great way of looking at it today. But when it was written, largely it was to keep white people in control so that they can continue to kill Native Americans and black people. Look it up. It's a whole thing. I mean, it's the formation of this country is fraught, and the French also. Yeah, the French and Indian War, right? They also hired American Indians to kill colonists. It was a whole thing. If you read the literature of that time, it's actually it's complicated, especially because all of the religious people who thought that they were higher than the workers, and you already had these striations of power. This hierarchy was being created within the colonies, and so you had why are we answering to these people overseas, and why are they hiring the natives to kill us when we get out of line? I mean, one of the major reasons why the Native Americans ended up on the chopping block, as it were, and were genocided by an emerging nation called the United States was because of bad blood caused because they sided with the French and the English. They didn't really have much of a choice. They were exploited by the French and the English, and the white Americans of the new nation. They were going to make them pay. Pretty gross.
The proposed $111 billion merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery has hit a major roadblock after California's Attorney General Rob Bonta and 11 other states sued to stop it, citing antitrust concerns. That move was followed by Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison threatening to take his operations out of California if the deal isn't approved. William Brangham has more on a conflict that's rattling the industry.
If Paramount did leave California, and that is a big if, it could mean thousands of jobs and billions of dollars leaving with it, dealing a serious blow to the state's already struggling entertainment industry. But a new report commissioned by LA County indicates that a successful merger with its consolidation and elimination of over...
I don't think Paramount's going to leave there. That's on Melrose. I've driven by that building a million times. Look at the Hollywood sign in the background. Such a cool... Yeah, it says Melrose Gate right there. Yeah, this is the Melrose Gate. It's kind of a famous place. You could drive right. It's like 6 feet away from the street.
Lapping positions would also cost jobs, nearly 4,500 of them, and see several $billion in lost wages in the first few years. David Ellison's departure threat has made Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass change her tune on the merger. After initially opposing it, she's now calling for a quick resolution of the multi-state antitrust case. So for more on what is at stake here, we're joined by Matthew Bellany. He's the founding partner of Puck News. Matt, thank you so much for being here. As I mentioned, the merger is stalled right now because the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, and all these other states have got this antitrust case against the merger.
What coinage is that? Is that like Louisiana? I know that like Dixie coins and stuff used to say weird shit like that. What coinage? Not federal dollar, not federal coin, right? One dead buffalo is a dead Indian. U.S. federal coinage said that? Really?
And now, as you reported, and you broke this story, David Ellison is threatening that if the merger doesn't go through by this fall, we're going to pull up stakes and leave L.A. How seriously should we take that threat?
Leave. Go.
Well, it's definitely a threat, and he's definitely using it as leverage. And he made the threat because he felt that he had no other option because the Attorney General would not even meet with him. So take that with a grain of salt. But I do think Ellison is serious about this. Remember, he's the son of Larry Ellison, who is the
who owns TikTok,
shareholder of Oracle. And Oracle did exactly
and Oracle. These billionaires, they own everything now. They own Star Trek now.
that. When it was fed up with taxes and regulation in California, Ellison moved to Texas and then Tennessee. And now we have his son making a very similar threat when he's not getting what he wants out of the state. And there are plans afoot. They have had conversations with Tennessee, Texas, Georgia. There's one other state in the mix we don't know about. But this is a serious threat.
There's been such...
It's a serious threat. They're going to leave California. Go, leave.
Incredible fissures here. I mean, you've got the current governor, reportedly, the incoming governor, now the mayor of Los Angeles, all saying we need to make this merger work. Against a lot of the creative industry, including the union, saying, no, this is going to be terrible for jobs and this is going to just consolidate
It will
power.
be horrible.
Are you surprised by how these fissures have shaken out?
A little bit, I guess. But, keep in mind, even amongst the major labor guilds in the entertainment, there's a split. The Writers Guild is vehemently opposed to the merger and does not want it to happen. The Directors Guild and another union, IATSE, which represents below the line and more worker-oriented people, they have said that they would want a settlement with particular terms that they have outlined in a letter to the Attorney General. So it is this kind of Rorschach test when you talk to people in Hollywood. They're looking at, no one wants this merger. It's objectively bad. But
yes.
Many people acknowledge that it's probably going to happen. Or if this merger doesn't happen, Warner Brothers...
I love how Americans, they it's horrible. It's going to cause all of this trouble, but it's probably going to happen.
Is likely going to be sold to some other company. So it's a question of what's the lesser of two evils here? And you have a big split in the industry.
And there's also the political dimension of this. As people know, the Ellisons are very close with President Trump. CNN would be part of this deal, and there is some concern about CNN falling into the hands of another pro-Trump organization. How much of that is an undercurrent here?
I think it's amazing.
I think it's an empty threat too, but they fall for it every time. When Disney threatened to leave Anaheim, the city decided to eminent domain all of these homes and businesses in order to build Disney California Adventure. It's a fucking disgusting display of tyranny, and I despise it. These companies have us by the short hairs, but they don't really. When the people stand up and actually do something, they go like cowardly lions and they go run away. The merger shouldn't go through. It's so fucked without extreme, and I don't think it should go through at all, but the fact that there are people like the Attorney General of California, there's people out there saying, okay, well, maybe it'll go through, but we want to have some concessions here that protect workers and shit. Okay, that's the cost of doing business, buddy. That's what government's supposed to do. It's supposed to protect the people, not the businesses.
Undercurrent. And I think it's something that has animated the Democrats on this issue. It's become a political football. Everybody has an opinion. And many people see what Ellison has done to CBS News since buying the parent company, Paramount.
Yeah.
CBS News is undergoing a pretty radical overhaul. And 60 Minutes, a news brand that everybody knows about, everybody's kind of heard that things are afoot at 60 Minutes. So it's become this political thing that politicians know people care about. And yes, the Ellisons have aligned themselves very closely with the Trump administration.
And they're not even mentioning TikTok. They own fucking TikTok.
And the review of this merger by Trump's Justice Department was very swift and was approved, even though there were people at the Justice Department that really did want to review it further. So I think that is key here. It's not a coincidence that the 12 attorney generals who are opposing this merger are all from Democrat-led states. It's become something of a political football.
And then there is the underlying economic issue. As you know so well, Hollywood has already lost, I believe it's 50,000 jobs or so in the last 4 years. What happens to the industry if several thousand more jobs get lost? What does the town look like?
Well, it's a smaller industry, and that is the reality of the situation right now. We're in a period of consolidation where the internet has completely disrupted the traditional entertainment system. Television is transitioning to streaming. We all see it in how we consume
YouTube. Become YouTubers, assholes.
content these days. And the question is what is the industry that creates professionally produced content going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years? And all
Very
of these
different.
mergers and all of the threats and the politics of it all, it's all related back to the fact that this industry is undergoing disruption. And it's
I think that this industry undergoing disruption will create an independent flair like it always does. Every time these businesses, like it used to be MGM, right, owned everything. And what did they, and they would actually sign movie stars to have like multi movie contracts and all this stuff. It was pretty gross. And they unionized and things happened. But while MGM was busy making all of these musicals, like put another musical out, and people are getting kind of bored with it, going to the movies and seeing another fucking MGM musical. Well, then the 60s and 70s happened, and people were making independent film. People like John Cassavetes and even Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola, who did it within the studio system. But there were people doing it without the studio system, like Jean-Luc Godard, the French New Wave. All these things were happening in the 60s and 70s as an answer to the studio system. Maybe this will be the death knell for the studio system. Maybe people will finally get fed up. I'm super annoyed because I like Star Trek and they own Star Trek. It fucking pisses me off that these weird guys do. Sky City Rebels Unite, says Steffelson. Thank you for being a member. 6-month baby doll. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate that.
It's making a lot of people really nervous.
Matt Bellany, founding partner of Puck News. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's making people nervous, but that's great. I think we're entering a world where everyone might be able to make music. I look at like musical equipment now. It's like hundreds of dollars where it used to cost thousands of dollars. And some of that technology is now in the hands of young people or people like me who've always been musical, have always had musical know-how, but now it's cheap. You could buy musical instruments for nothing. You could buy mixers for nothing. A laptop and a mixer is like a few $100s. It's not a few $1,000s anymore, you know? And I'm excited. I think that more people will be able to, even with, like you don't have to sign up for Adobe anymore. You can get the free version of DaVinci or something and make your own YouTube videos or buy a Mac and get your fucking iMovie for free, I think. I think you could still get iMovie. And you can make your own YouTube shit. You can make your own. I think it's really exciting. And then you might not be a millionaire, but you could be like me where you can almost make the ends meet. Thanks you to people like Steffelson who becomes Sky City Rebels. It keeps the lights on. It keeps me doing this. You guys support. I try to put in a lot of labor into this channel and you guys support it and we're able to build something unique. Become a Sky City Rebel, please. Support your creators. It's way better than supporting the Ellisons by having a Paramount Plus contract or having a Paramount Plus subscription. It's way better than supporting, Tim Cook and having an Apple Plus. I mean, Apple TV fucking sucks balls. Apple TV sucks balls. Netflix sucks balls. I'm much more interested I love that there's a DIY vibe going on. I hope that it goes more. I'm a rebel light for now. Oh no, it's Sayardia. No.
Thank you.
Amid record low polling, a new projection shows President Trump's net approval rating is negative in 47 out of 50 states. According to The Economist and YouGov, Trump's net approval is minus 26. And let's go state by state. The data shows widespread dissatisfaction with Trump, even in states that voted for him in 2024. Ahead of the midterms, Trump has
all right. So this is like the third report we're seeing about how shitty everyone thinks Trump is.
A negative net approval rating in all of the states where there are competitive
Why does everybody hate Donald Trump?
Senate races this year. Places like Georgia, where Trump's net approval is negative 31. North Carolina, it's negative 25. Maine, Trump's net approval is negative 31. Texas, negative 22. And in Michigan,
Chris, thank you, Chris. Chris J 4236. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that so much. Gifted 5 Skyjack Morgan memberships. You're a scholar and a gentleman. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate that. You're amazing. You're beautiful. I'm wonderful. I love you. I pay $300 and you a lifetime Nebula subscription. Ooh, should I be on Nebula? I don't know how to be on. I don't think they do live streaming on Nebula, do they? But I would love to do Nebula. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Oh, Positrack got one. Nice. Jubilation, please. Jubilations and green hearts of courage for Chris, please. Drop some emojis in the chat for Chris. Thank you so much, Chris.
Net approval is negative 27. Not exactly what you want to see if you're Republicans vying to win in those states. It means they've got a lot of headwinds. But then add to that this: Republicans, ranchers, and beef producers are criticizing the president's plan to lower beef prices. The president on Friday posted that his administration will allow up to 300,000 metric tons of ground beef to be imported without higher tariffs over the next 90 days. The president's claiming the beef would be sold 25% under current market value, which is currently at a record high of $6.89 a pound. There was immediate backlash to this announcement. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association said in a statement that, quote, flooding the market with government-subsidized below-market beef is not the way to rebuild the American cattle herd. The group also said the move sacrifices long-term stability for short-term messaging. Multiple Republican senators also criticized the plan on social media, among them Tim Sheehy of Montana, who said that he's advised the president against this course of action for a year. Deb Fisher of Nebraska said flooding the market with foreign beef hurts our livestock industry and undermines the long-term solution. And Tom Cotton of Arkansas posted that imported beef will only put more pressure on cattlemen, adding he's also advised the president against the action and is now urging him to reconsider. The president was asked about all of it on Friday.
We want to get the beef prices down, so we'll get them down a little bit. And that's what people want. That's what the voters want. And that's what I want. The ranchers are great. They're my people. I love the ranchers.
I love the ranchers. They're my people. I've always loved ranchers. They're my people. Like, I always loved them from New York City. I'm from New York. You know, we got lots of ranchers. Lots of ranchers in Queens. Tons of ranchers. Lots of ranchers. Yes, Skyjack has just gifted 5 Sky City Rebel memberships. Thank you, Sky City Rebels. You're amazing. You keep the lights on. I love you.
A fantastic job, but they admit that we need a little help. And in order to get the prices down. So that's what we're doing. I don't want to say which countries, but there are a few countries, but they're going to be sending in the highest quality beef, and it's something that we need.
We don't know which countries, but they're doing the highest quality. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's going to be the highest quality beef. You're going to love it. It's so great. That's why it's ground beef.
Not only do we not know where the beef is coming from, the president...
Everyone knows that when you don't know where ground beef comes from, it's completely safe, and it's going to be very high quality. It's not Soylent Green. Contrary to popular belief, it's not.
Didn't explain how it would be discounted or where the beef would be sold. This is yet another political problem ahead of the midterms.
Mystery
I want to bring in
meat.
MS Now congressional reporter Michael Schnell. Michael, you are in South Carolina. We are going to get there in a moment just because the president was just there doing a rally for Darlene Graham in the closing days of that special election. But let's start here on not just the response from the American beef industry, but also farmers and fellow Republicans. I mean, the fact that you've got senators who are really never critical of the president coming out on their own accord on social media, I think says that this really hits a local nerve. All politics is still local, but I mean, this is a misstep from the White House. What do you think ends up happening here?
Yeah, Ali, one of the recurring themes throughout not just this Trump administration, but also the first Trump administration is how far congressional Republicans willing to bend to support whatever President Trump was pushing or advocating for at that moment before they start to push back. And the reason they would push back, it personally was a problem for them, or it was a problem for their folks back home. We are seeing that this decision on beef imports is indeed too far for these Republican lawmakers. You just tick through and name particularly 3 Republicans who are very closely aligned with President Trump. The name that stood out to me.
The thing is, like, all of the major Republicans, they represent districts that have a lot of people involved in the cattle industry. Let's just say they're either growing food for cattle, or they're raising cattle, or they are dairy producers. In California, those giant parts of California that are deep red, all Republican, those are all cattle producing regions, mostly dairy, but lots of cattle. California is the #1 cattle producing area in the world, well, in America. And so, largest dairy, largest cattle producer is California. The only Republicans left are people like Tulare Lake and all of that area. Same thing in Texas, same thing in Florida. These areas where there's cattle producers are Republicans. So the Congress people from those areas might start getting a little pissed off.
The most was Tom Cotton, the Republican from Arkansas, saying this goes too far. This is going to hurt cattle ranchers at home. Yes, it may be decreasing in the short term the price of beef for American consumers, but what about those cattle ranchers who are now going to have more competition in the workplace, but also at a much cheaper price? It puts more of a burden on them. So yes, this is a significant concern for these Republican lawmakers. It also hits on the affordability theme that we know is going to be so key to the November midterm elections. The question of what President Trump does right now, that's up to the White House, but it is worth noting that there was a similar instance to this back in May when the president had announced a similar idea involving beef, and then he pulled back on it because he had this swift outrage and backlash from Republican lawmakers in these farm states who have a lot of cattle ranchers as their constituents. So we'll see if he goes through with it this time around, but certainly this is a flashpoint, and it sort of helps us understand how far Republican members are willing to go. Well, when it hits folks' pocketbooks at home, particularly in this niche area like cattle farmers, that's too far.
It might be too far. We'll see. I'm also thinking of places like Iowa, where Ashley Hinson, the congresswoman who's running for the seat there, Joni Ernst's seat in Iowa, put out a statement saying this was a bad move. I mean, again, there are ripple effects in key elections. But I think the flip side of this, if you move away from the Republican outcry and into what the move signals, it's that the White House knows they have an affordability crisis on their hands, even as the president continues to go out and say it's a Democratic hoax and the other party created the term. And so I wonder what that says to you, because this is a White House that has tried to push the president onto that messaging. They haven't really been able to succeed at it because he is his own messenger and he does his own thing. But this does show, at least implicitly, that they know that there's an issue here.
Yeah, well, Ali, I guess within 3 months of election day would be any time as good for the president to start to understand that affordability is the name of the game when we're talking about these midterm elections. And you're right, it has been a journey to get here from him saying, what is this idea of affordability? It's a hoax being pushed by Democrats. Now understanding that the cost of living is an acute concern of voters across the country. But of course, it's this equilibrium, right? And it's a very delicate balance.
No, it's exactly what he did last time.
I won on a word called groceries. I won. Do you remember when he said that? I won because of groceries. I told everybody groceries were a new word. It's a new word. I invented it. Groceries. Nobody knew about groceries before I started talking about it. And then now everybody's talking about groceries. And I won. They voted for me. In a landslide victory, they voted. And I win. China, biggest dairy farm, has over 1 million cows. 1 million cows. Maybe that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy a bunch of Chinese ground beef from all their dairy. Trump's imported ground beef includes ground homeless migrants and horses. Oh, fuck. Dude, wait for this thing to backfire. It's going to be no holy cows are from India. Maybe that's what it'll be. It'll be ground up cows from the Indian leather industry because India is the number 2 leather industry, but nobody eats cows there. So what will they do with all the cows? Like, what do they do? Let's just Google that really fast. If India is the world's largest, the second largest leather producer in the world, what do they do with all of the dead cow flesh since they don't eat cows there? What do they do? Buffalo hide. It also exports the meat. They export the dairy animals, the flesh, the meat, the water buffalo. India has the world's largest population of Asian domestic water buffalo, and they're not sacred. They'll eat those fuckers. Their meat and hides are legally processed, making India a top global exporter of buffalo meat, often globally labeled as beef, and buffalo leather. They'll label it as beef. There you go. We'll be eating, the Americans will be eating ground up water buffalo. Perfect. The dairy industry. India is the world's largest milk producer. Millions of cattle and buffaloes are raised for dairy. When these animals stop producing milk or are no longer useful, many enter the legal processing and export supply chains for meat and hides. What do you know? What do you know? I love it. While internal beef consumption is low compared to other nations, culturally taboo for many, India still processes and exports billions of dollars of meat and leather goods via legal channels, primarily utilizing buffalo or animals processed in permitted sectors. Yeah. There's a movie called Christspiracy, where they go over that, over the religious indoctrination, saying that cows are sacred, and yet they're still killing so many fucking cows, billions of pounds. Yeah, there you go. Water buffaloes are like pets. They're all cows are like pets, buddy. They're all like pets. All cows. Cows, we breed them to be sweet so that they're easy to maintain and kill. We breed them intentionally to be nice. We like them to be sweet, like beagles and pigs and chickens. Chickens are very, very sweet animals too, and yet we do that intentionally. We bred them to be sweet and kind so we can kill them more easily.
This summer really hasn't looked too good for new home construction. Stats from the federal government show it hasn't been close to this bad since the 2020 pandemic.
Oof.
It's a different story for commercial construction, but there's one problem among both sectors: worker shortages.
Yeah.
Things are going very well for them. The commercial construction industry is strong in Arizona. A testament to this crowd at the Arizona
Because they're building surveillance centers.
Construction Expo on Thursday. There's high demand when it comes to data centers, semiconductor factories, and entertainment spaces.
For a long time, construction wasn't a very sexy career choice for people, but it can be very lucrative.
There's less excitement in home construction right now. Federal numbers show housing starts dropped nearly 12.5% in July. Industry experts point to a handful of hurdles: the cost of materials, rising gas prices.
Well, everyone wants to stay away from animal flesh. It's just slave. It's just supporting slavery.
and a labor shortage.
The biggest issue right now is workforce and getting quality people.
That's hitting the commercial side too. Kimberly Davids with the Arizona Builders Alliance says people are retiring and there's not enough joining the trades to keep up. According to a national group called Associated Builders and Contractors, the industry needs nearly 350,000 new workers this year to meet demand.
If I saw that logo, I would not think Associated Builders and Contractors. That looks like the ABC logo, like alcoholic beverage control.
And more than 450,000 next year. It's also no secret construction is physically and mentally taxing.
Mental health in construction is a challenge. The suicide rate is higher than just about every other industry.
David says construction crews are building the data centers that make AI possible and doesn't see a near future where people trust robots to build buildings more than humans.
Definitely stability for families.
Now, when it comes to difficulties on the job for construction workers, you just heard it's an industry with a high suicide rate. I'm digging into that root cause, and we'll have a story on that during National Construction Suicide.
It's because they work all day long and work long, crazy hours. They're treated like shit. They work under the sun. Then they get paid garbage, and they feel disrespected. And yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, I wonder why they're killing themselves. Interesting. Hold on, folks. Things are going to continue to get much worse. Think Russia and North Korea. Yeah, I am thinking about Russia and North Korea, Lees. I think about them all the time. We're closer to nuclear war than we've ever been, and it's got nothing to do with Iran.
And we're joined now by the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Ah, look at this guy. It's Mehmet Oz. It's amazing. He puts his suit on and he shows his face. It's surprising.
Mehmet Oz. Welcome back to Face the Nation.
Thanks for having me.
It is unquestionable here that healthcare costs are projected to rise in 2027, and this is a top concern. We see it in our polling in terms of economic worry for the average American. There's some good news, and I know you're watching this portion of it. There's this 3.1% drop year over year in drug prices, according to the Consumer Price Index for the month of July. Now, that's not all drugs, and generics played a role here. I know the administration wants to take credit for it, but can you give us some projection here? Are we going to see a further drop in drug prices? And if so, where, how much, who's going to benefit?
Well, I think drug prices are going to continue to drop. This is just what the doctor ordered. To be clear, this is the number one issue that Americans fear about healthcare costs because it comes out of their pocket. So let's put this in context. If you're sitting at home right now and you go to a drugstore because a doctor prescribed a medication, especially a branded product that might change your life for the better, hopefully, 1 in 3 times roughly, you will leave empty-handed because you can't afford the medication.
What?
Now, when you see
1 in 3 times?
They have over the past year, the fastest
Holy shit. He just drops that on us. You go to a drugstore and you want drugs to make your life better, and 1 in 3 times people can't afford it. A third of Americans are walking. They have a prescription for drugs and they walk out empty-handed because they can't afford it. A third? A third? A third? Holy shit.
We've had in 63 years, and it's accelerating, which is why I'm confident that it's going to continue. You change that dynamic. Now, the question is why? How did that happen? And one of the realities is that we leave empty-handed from the drugstore because our drugs cost much more than they cost in other countries. And the president recognized this, and it really bothered him, and it has for years. The real question is, why didn't we deal with it earlier?
It's bothered him for years. Why didn't we do anything about it earlier? Yeah.
So the president gave us a very clear mandate at the very beginning of the administration, because these processes...
Why didn't he do anything about it in his last administration?
He said, I don't want you to hurt productivity, creativity, innovation in the pharmaceutical sector, but they are not allowed to charge 3 times more for the exact same products made often in U.S. facilities than they pay in Europe or Asia. So we went after this issue. Most favored nation drug pricing is the result. We're not telling companies what they can charge. We're saying whatever you charge overseas, you got to charge here.
That's what we're not telling you what you can charge. We're saying if you charge this, then you got to charge. You are telling them what they can charge. Yes, you are. It's called price control. Just embrace it. That's what the government's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be helping us. It's supposed to help us flourish. And the government allowed them to fuck us for years. When I was a kid, I had debilitating asthma. I had very bad asthma. My parents would drive to Tijuana where we could get 3 inhalers for like $6, I think. I think it was like $6 and 1 inhaler. This is, 40 years ago now, 40 years ago. It cost $6 for 3 inhalers in Mexico, but on my side of the border, it costs $60 for 1. If you look at the package, they're both made in Chicago. I remember looking. I'm looking at these things. It's identical. It's from the same factory, and yet on one side of the border, like 90 miles away from my house, we had 10 times cheaper.
No more of this global freeloading. And thankfully, the 17 companies representing 85% of the drug sector all came on board. And here's the good news. Their market capitalization on Wall Street actually went up because the market wants stability. What we want is better prices for the American people, and we got it. And just to put it in context, this
This guy's so funny the way he talks. He's literally, we're not doing this, but we're doing this.
savings that we're seeing, the additional amount of savings we're getting, primarily driven not just by having medications at most favored nation pricing, but available to the American people on TrumpRx.gov, is seismic in its nature.
Well, more people want more information, and these deals aren't being published. There's some questions from lawmakers about it. I've seen reporting that 17 drug makers.
Sky Rizzy, that's what they call it. Every time I see an ad for Sky Rizzy, I see those ads a lot. Sky Rizzy.
Agreed to these most favored nation prices, but that Medicare and Medicaid recipients don't yet get full access to the programs. When will they? How much cheaper will it be? What kind of drugs?
Well, Medicare beneficiaries.
So that was the thing too, because my parents were very stingy, and so if I lost my inhaler, they didn't want to spend. So there used to be this thing called Primatene Mist before the anti-aerosol things happened, before they wanted to fix the ozone layer, and you could get this over-the-counter drug for asthma. And it sort of worked. It kind of hurt your lungs, and it made you made you kind of freak out a little bit. But man, Primatene Mist, it was crazy. Why did Primatene Mist hurt my lungs and make me feel like I got a shot of adrenaline so much? Why was it so much more extreme than Ventolin, and yet it was over the counter? Let's see. Primatene Mist felt so extreme. Epinephrine was the fuck. That's why Primatene Mist was so much more intense.
Consult a professional.
Primatene Mist was so much more intense because it used epinephrine instead of Ventolin, which used albuterol. Yes, I remember the word albuterol when I was a little kid. Epinephrine stimulates the adrenergic receptors in your body, including beta-1 receptors in your heart and alpha receptors in your blood vessels alongside the lung receptors. I remember people would take Primatene Mist for workouts. They would just, non-asthmatics, they would take it for workouts. Lung irritate. The sudden surge to these receptors and inactive ingredients like alcohol in the mist can cause a harsh burning and painful sensation, sensitive airways. It totally did. Man, I remember using it, but I would lose my Ventolin, or I would be out of it, and my parents would take me to the CVS or whatever, and we'd get fucking Primatene Mist. Or like as a kid, you forget your inhaler or whatever, and so we'd have to get Primatene Mist if I had an attack. And over-the-counter remedy for mild intermittent asthma. Yeah. Long before modern strict drug classifications. It was extreme. American Lung Association opposed its return due to safety and heart risk. The FDA permits it strictly for temporary relief and diagnosed for intermittent asthma. Yeah, I mean, it was not your first go. You did not want to be on Primatene Mist, man. It was fucking intense. It was like, as a little kid, like, because you're hurting, you're having asthma. It feels like you're breathing through a straw, and you feel like you're gonna die. And like in extreme cases, like your lips are turning blue, your fingernails are turning blue. But if you're like having an asthma attack and you're in the back of the car, what the fuck's your dad gonna do, right? Pull over after your dad's done yelling my dad used to yell at me, "Calm down! You're causing your own asthma." I mean, dads are stupid, right? Thought it was my fault that I'm having a fucking asthma attack. And so then we'd end up, my mom would yell at him, and we'd go to like CVS or Thrifties or Rite Aid or whatever, Osco, whatever it is, Save On. And they all had Primatene Mist. And I would take it and be like, it was like Uma Thurman. It was like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction. It was like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction taking Primatene Mist. You're like, woo! And you're like, my asthma's gone, but I'm also like, blah, 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 blah. It was so intense. Holy shit. I'm sure that stuff did me horrible. Yeah, my dad wasn't a nice guy. No. Calm down, you went. Yeah. Calm down. Breathe. Just breathe. Like, I don't know, man. He was probably just scared. He was young, Asthma's already anxiety inducing. And well, a lot of the time stress also increases your asthmatic triggers, right? Especially when I was a kid, before I went vegan. When I went vegan, my asthma went away, and I still have asthma. Like every once in a while, I could tell I still have asthma, but I haven't been in the hospital for 22 years almost, because I've been vegan for almost 22 years. And since then, I haven't had a major attack. I haven't been in a hospital, and I haven't taken any drugs. I haven't taken any medication for my asthma for about 20 years probably. Yeah, sounds like your mother. Oh, God. Or the content of sniffing girl from Cheech and Chong. Epinephrine is meth precursor. Not epinephrine. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about there. Dairy is really bad for asthma. Yeah. Super bad. Well, all animal product, like eggs too. The eggs and dairy are the number one allergens. More people are allergic to eggs and dairy than allergic to anything else. And a lot of times you don't have these massive responses, but if you already are if you have allergic reactions like asthma is, asthma is an allergic condition that acts like an autoimmune disease. It's very complicated. And all these triggers and all these things are need to be managed, but then the triggers change. It's very, very fucking difficult. Yeah. Epinephrine is adrenaline. Yeah. I didn't know that it was epinephrine until right now with Primatene Mist. But I remember and I didn't know that there was alcohol delivery system, and that's why your lungs hurt. But you would breathe it in, and you would burn, and you would you'd start geeking out, man. The CFCs originally made asthma. Well, the CFCs might have made. Well, first of all, not all had CFCs, but Primatene Mist did, and that was probably also bad because it was poor man. The Primatene Mist was like the poor man asthma med. It was like for poor kids in inner cities, but you could get it in a jam. So when I was a kid, you'd forget your inhaler, or you'd lose your inhaler, or you'd be out. It'd be empty, and you're on a road trip or some shit, and so you'd end up with Primatene Mist. It was, man, shit. Oh, it's like it's bringing me back, bro. It's crazy.
Shares are rapidly getting access to these deals. By the way, we want to codify.
But they don't have access to this program.
No, they do. They do. For example, the GLP-1 medications, the so-called fat shot, as the president calls them, they're now available to eligible
the fat shot
beneficiaries for $50 a month. Margaret, these drugs were over $1,000 a month before.
There you go, GLP-1s, guys. You can get thin in America.
Administration. So that's driving a lot of the savings. That's the number one category, by the way, of all drugs. And guess what the number one zip code is for GLP-1s today in America? It's the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The rich people get access to these drugs because they want to look better when they go out to the Hamptons for the weekend. But the people who need them, the seniors who are overweight, can now for the first time afford these drugs. $50 a month means you can do something to help yourself lose weight, reduce blood pressure, reduce diabetes, and all the downstream costs that would have been incurred no longer happen.
So they have.
He's a good talker, I gotta say. You gotta really pay attention to what this guy's saying to hear his bullshit. I get why Mehmet Oz is famous and rich, why he's so rich and famous. He's a good talker.
Full access is what you're saying. It's not just the GLP-1s.
Medicare beneficiaries have full access to some of the drugs. Like the fertility drugs, they don't need those quite as much, even though fertility drugs are down 90%. So we have to deliver these medications as they make sense. And going forward, this is the reason I'm optimistic, all new drugs released in America from these large companies will be at most favored nation drug pricing. So you'll get better.
Yeah, so if drugs are going down, but groceries are going up, and I don't believe that drugs are going down. Is it true? Can anyone vouch for this? I don't know. I don't buy medicine. I took enough medicine as a kid. I was on so many pills and fucking inhalers and everything for my asthma. I'm really kind of against pill culture these days. I hate it. I'll take ibuprofen and acetaminophen. That's about it. That's about as far as I'll go. I don't like taking drugs. No, it's not cheaper. GLP-1 causes blindness and muscle I mean, that's a thing. Like, I have, because of how hard I worked and what the type of like physically demanding jobs I had over my life, I have arthritis now in my legs, in my knees, and my feet. And supposedly there's all these drugs, biologics and therapeutics that I should be able to take to help me. But I'm afraid, man, every time I look into it and I see ads for these drugs, because now, the algorithm knows that I have this condition. I look at the side effects. I'm like, fuck no, I'll just live with the intermittent pain. It'll suck, but I don't want to do it. GLP-1 can cause pancreatitis. Yeah, it's all a pharmacon, right? Every time you take it, it goes, pharmacists here, prices going up, pharmacies losing money. So prices are going up? So what the fuck is Mehmet Oz? Prices do not go down. Then what is Mehmet Oz saying? Just GLP, just the fat pokies.
Better and better and better.
The fat
So
shots.
you acknowledged earlier this week in an interview with my colleague Major Garrett on CBS that Biden era 2022 law that allowed Medicare to haggle with drug makers was helpful to you.
Like I think things like asthma meds should be cheaper, stuff for poor people. Like asthma mostly affects people who are poor or raised in inner cities. I wasn't raised in an inner city, but I was raised in the San Fernando Valley, and in the 80s it was very fucking polluted. And it might be why I had so much asthma is because of where I was born. Like we don't really have asthma in my family, and it's unclear whether or not it's genetic anyway, because it seems to affect people who are born in places with high levels of air pollution. It just seems to get certain babies. I don't know. Certain old people too develop it. So
In this, that was kind of part of opening the door. I remember at that time, there was a lot of concern and criticism about that law, that it would hurt innovation, that it would hurt the marketplace. How is it that you are now embracing it and making sure that it's not doing that?
The risks of the IRA, which is the law that drove this, is that it'll coerce.
Okay, I am thinking about trying marijuana, exercise, and try some cannabis. Okay, so I was exercising, but then I moved and all this other stuff. So I'm getting my exercise routine back in order. I had a big life disruption, you know. But I'm thinking about buying a bong and maybe doing a weekly ceremony of cannabis and Star Trek. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think about that plan? Cannabis and Star Trek? What do you think? Every Thursday, cannabis and Star Trek.
Tonight, far-right provocateur and pardoned January 6th insurrectionist Jake Lang has been arrested in Minneapolis today. Lang's group crashed an anti-Trump protest after driving their trucks on sidewalks next to protesters.
What is more Nazi than attacking people who are criticizing their government? That is the most Nazi thing you can do. Attacking anyone, like deadly assault on people who are criticizing the government. Not much more than that. THC, vape flower. I don't know, man. I just like, look, I get that you guys are much more experienced with marijuana than I am. I am not an expert, okay? But I do know that I like indica in an ice water bong and watching either Scooby-Doo or Star Trek. I'm mostly Star Trek. I don't know how you'd watch Scooby-Doo today. But when I was a kid, I liked watching Scooby-Doo and getting high. But I just, I also like, I used to like to make pot cookies. I'm very good at making pot cookies. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make some hemp oil and I'll make some pot cookies. Those are really fun. Have some cookies. Marijuana causes heart disease? Come on. I mean, I guess a lot would probably, but it wouldn't. A little bit. Come on. Once a week, a few pot cookies is not going to make you fucking sick.
Near the city hall. The trucks were then surrounded, causing police to step in to get them out.
Maybe I'll do edibles. Smoking anything causes heart disease. All right, then we'll okay, maybe the bong's a bad idea. Okay, I'll just buy some flour and I'll make some weed oil out of it. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll grow my own. You can grow your own in New Mexico.
Everyone inside the trucks were arrested for inciting a riot. Minneapolis mayor did not hold back on his thoughts on Lang.
Far-right extremist and known racist Jake Lang arrived near Minneapolis City Hall. Both vehicles then drove onto the sidewalk in front of City Hall toward a crowd of people that were gathered there. All individuals that were in the two vehicles have been arrested by the Minneapolis Police Department, including the racist Jake Lang.
And that's the thing too. If you grow your own weed, the leaves you can also use the leaves to make pot butter. And if you make pot butter and then you turn it into cookies, and you could make a lot of it. You could make a harvest and make a big tub of pot butter and then just keep it in your fridge or your freezer and make cookies out of it from time to time. Yeah, I think that'd be great. I do like beer, but here's the thing, Melissa Sweetser. Alcohol isn't inflammatory. So I'm just thinking about this in the long term. Maybe I should grow some weed, make myself a little harvest where I grow some I make some pot butter and make some cookies. I love making cookies. Who doesn't like cookies? You know? Nope, there's no THC in the leaves, only in the bud flower. I don't know. I've taken leaves of marijuana and made some pot brownies, and you definitely felt it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's, I can't tell you if that's true or false, but I know that you can take leaves and make pot oil and pot butter out of it. So, I don't know. I don't know if you're saying maybe it's CBD and not THC. I'm going to go ahead. I've made pot butter out of marijuana leaves, but someone is telling me that there's no THC in the leaves. What's the deal? Because definitely when I made edibles out of the leaves, I felt something. Am I crazy or what's going on? I'm not crazy.
Leaves do contain THC, though in lower amounts than the flowering tops. You likely felt something because of this.
There you go. Cannabis leaves absolutely contain THC. Your experience with edibles was entirely real. The person who told you otherwise is likely confusing fan leaves with sugar leaves or repeating a common myth that cannabinoids only exist in the flowering buds. The scientific reality of how THC is distributed throughout the plant explains why your homemade pot butter still worked. THC and other cannabinoids are manufactured and stored within trichomes, which are the tiny frosty-looking resin glands of the plant. While trichomes are most densely packed on the female buds, they grow on the leaves as well. The potency varies dramatically depending on the type of leaf you used. Sugar leaves. These are the small, frosty leaves that grow directly out of the buds. They are heavily coated in trichomes and can easily clock in at 5 to 15% THC. They are incredibly potent and widely used by growers to make high-quality Royal Queen Seeds canna butter. The fan leaves, these are large, iconic, hand-shaped leaves that have very few trichomes. Oh, that's probably why. So when I made it out of the leaves, I had a friend who was growing weed. And I had a friend growing marijuana, and he didn't want they were really small leaves, and he gave me a freezer bag full of them, and I made pot butter out of it. He said you could smoke them, and I'm like, I don't know, it looks kind of gross. I only smoke flour, and so there you go. Yeah, the trichomes will definitely work. All right, so the sugar leaves have trichomes. All right, so sugar leaves, fine. I don't know the difference. I'm not an expert, guys. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm just telling you my experiences with marijuana. I know when someone gives me an ingredient and they say, you can make pot butter out of this, and I did, and I look at it and they're fucking leaves. That's all I know. I didn't know the difference between sugar leaf and fan leaf. They seemed rather small. I thought they were small because they were dry, but I get what you mean. Like the big leaf that people put on their hats and stuff, that probably isn't something you can smoke, right? Okay, thank you so much for being here.
Is due back in D.C. next month for a court hearing after a judge says that he possibly violated his probation. Lang pled guilty in July.
Well, if I grow my own, you have more fan leaves than buds, right? So I don't know. Look, guys, I'm thinking about growing some weed just for myself. Just for myself. I'd be happy if we could decriminalize cannabis across the whole United States. It's legal here. I don't know how I would set up a little grow. I'd grow it outside. It's super fucking sunny here. And I bet you'd grow like a fucking champ. They're not so water heavy, are they? I mean, they don't need... It's my understanding that marijuana doesn't require that much water. Am I wrong? Oh, it's water intensive. I'm mistaken. Okay, I am wrong, but they are drought resilient. Wild or feral hemp can survive extreme dryness, and that leads to the myth that the plant thrives on neglect. So I obviously was a victim of that myth. So I am wrong about that. But beginners often damage their plants by watering too frequently, which causes the root to rot. Okay, growers must let the soil dry out a few inches deep between waterings rather than keeping it constantly soggy. I don't know. I'm just going to tell it. I'm thinking about growing a couple marijuana plants in a raised garden bed in Albuquerque, New Mexico. What should I know? If you grow it outside, get a 5-gallon plastic bucket with good potting soil. You have to start at seed. Usually water every 3 days. Why do I need a seed? Why can't I just buy a plant? Why do I need to start from a seed? That sounds like so much work. Why can't I just buy a plant? They sell plants. Why can't I just buy a plant? Doesn't take a lot of water to keep them alive, but it takes a lot of water to get large yields. Oh, hydroponics. Shows that 100% of Americans think that Trump is a warmonger. Indeed. But you'll have enough small buds you don't want to trim. Eating the leaves is less work. You don't want to trim. Eating the leaves. I want to eat the leaf. Well, I'd make pot oil out of it. Edibles. I want to make edibles. Buy feminized auto flower seeds. Where do I buy that? Can I buy that at the dispensary? Buy bag pots. They're very good for plant. I was going to buy those big galvanized steel circular ones. I don't know. I was going to make like a vegetable garden. Start with clones. You guys have so much to say. I don't know. Sam's Club run complete. Fuck Trump. You went to Walmart, huh? Sam's Club is Walmart. Sam Walton. Okay. I've made a note of that. Growing a couple of cannabis plants in a raised garden bed in Albuquerque, New Mexico is entirely feasible, but you will need to manage the intense high desert sun, dry air, and local regulations. Legal plant limits. New Mexico allows adults aged 21 and over to grow up to 6 plants. That's fine for me per person. And you're only allowed to have 12 per house. Okay. So if I get a wife, I can have, if I get a wife or a roommate, I can grow 12 plants, but I can only grow 6. That's fine. They must not be visible from a public space like the street or sidewalk. No problem. Put in my backyard. Sun and heat management. Albuquerque gets intense ultraviolet. You'll need a 30% 50. I'll grow it under my tree during July and August. All right. July and August are over. Water retention. Raised beds drain fast. And the dry Albuquerque air will suck moisture right out of the soil. Mix plenty of organic compost or cocoa coir, I don't know what that is, into your bed to boost water retention, and consider adding a thick layer of mulch on the top. Okay, I can do that. Give each plant at least 4 feet of space. Whoa! 4 feet for each plant? The raised bed, so their root zones and branches don't compete fiercely for water. 4 feet of space? That's fucking insane. I've never seen that. I've seen a lot of people grow plants like all bunched up. What are they talking about? 4 feet? You're crazy. 4 feet. 4 feet each plant. That's nuts. Are you planting seeds or clones? I want to do clones. How do I get a clone? I want to plant a clone, but I don't know where to get one. How do I get a clone? You can get live cannabis clones in Albuquerque, buying them directly from a licensed adult use dispensary, specialized clone bars, and hydroponic grow stores across the city. Since cannabis is fully legal for adult use in New Mexico, you do not need a medical card. You only need a valid state ID showing you are 21 and over. All right, perfect. I wonder if I have to be a New Mexican resident. I'm from California, though. It's legal in California, too. I should be able to get it. I still have a California ID. A clone bar. They got clone bar. Sunday's clone bar. Wow. Okay. Now I have a plan. Reviewers praise their excellent variety of sizes and strains. The plants cost $20 to $35. Okay, so I can get 5 plants for $100. Fantastic. Carver Family Farm. Dude, I'm doing it. I'm going to grow some marijuana. Get a clone for the Empire, yeah. The Clone Wars. Go to the Cannabis Club. Ask them. They get huge. Just use some buckets. You think, but that's not 4 feet, Thorn. I guess each one's in a bucket. What, like those Home Depot buckets, like the orange bucket? 2 for each. Hey, Steffelson, thank you. Legalize Mary Jane nationwide and turn the Great Plains into a giant field of herb. Wouldn't that be great? I'm totally into it. Steffelson, I'm with you, Steffelson. Add a lot of hummus to your ground and top it off with good compost every year. Hummus? What are you talking about, hummus? Weed butter is my love language. Man, I could make weed hummus. I could totally make weed hummus. Just dip and get high. Just dip. Just dip, you dip, we dip. I dip, you dip. When I say dip, we dip, we dip. We'll watch your cannabis adventure. I should totally do it. I was make a little video about it. I mean, they're pretty resilient plants. It's pretty hard to kill a fucking weed. I'll just put them around my tree and I'll have a little grass here, man. I wonder how often. I'll just get it, bruh. Bro, we're talking about growing weed. Feed the ladies the hummus. I love making tinctures and stuff. I love the culinary aspect. And now that I have this arthritis thing, I think this is exactly what I needed, guys, because it really is grabbing the rose by the thorn, taking control. I don't like this passiveness that everybody, this passivity that everyone in America has, where they're just like, well, I guess I'll go to the doctor and get a drug and give money to the bosses. And like, I think I'm much more this vibe, right? I'm not a big weed guy, but I can learn something new, grow a little marijuana, make myself some tinctures and some oils, make myself some edibles, and every Thursday I'll eat a bunch of weed and I'll watch fucking Star Trek. It doesn't have to be a daily thing, you know. Hummus. And we'll have some weed parties. How much fun would that be? Have a weed party over at Skyjack's house, over at the Picaflor, Cielito Picaflor, at Casa Picaflor. I think that's I don't know. I haven't named my house yet, but I kind of want to call it Casa del Cielito, Casa Cielito, Casita Cielito, something like that. I got to name my house. Edibles will blow your wig off, bro. Start with a J. I don't like J's. I like bongs, but man, I'm thinking the edible. I like edibles. Just fucking take an edible and like, dong. I like that vibe a lot. You definitely need a place for everyone to nap to, LOL. I'll put beanbag chairs all over the living room and we'll all just like get high eating, and then be like, watching some Star Trek. We're watching some Star Trek. Rockefeller fucked your homeopathic abilities. Yeah, I want my homeopathy. I want my homeopathy back. That's what I want. It's got a ton of places all over in Albuquerque where I can buy those clones. Clone inventory moves quickly and can be highly seasoning. Always call the shop to check first. Okay. I want to grow it for myself, for my own personal use, in order to treat my arthritis. Is there? Can I expect a decent yield for my own personal purposes? And how often will I harvest? Here we go. That's it. That's my question for AI. Let's see what they say. You can absolutely expect a highly decent, abundant yield for your own personal medical use because you are growing outdoors in a raised bed. Your plants have the potential to grow much larger and yield significantly more than indoor plants. Conservative estimate, a beginner grower can expect 2 to 4 ounces of high-quality dried flower per plant. If you manage the intense Albuquerque sun with shade cloth and water properly, outdoor plants can easily yield half a pound or over a pound. Just 2 plants yielding a conservative 4 ounces total provides about 113 grams of medicine. Whether you smoke it, vaporize it, or infuse it in topical anti-inflammatory salves, this is typically more than enough to sustain a single person's medical needs for months. Growing outdoors in Albuquerque means you will have to harvest exactly once per year, usually in late October. The seasonal cycle. Outdoor cannabis relies on natural sun cycle. Clones are typically planted outside during late spring. Damn it, I missed it. They spend summer growing and leaves and branches vegetative state. The flowering trigger. As the days naturally grow shorter, the plant triggers its flowering phase. But they stay alive every year, right? Because you only harvest once a year, you'll need to dry, cure, and store your buds airtight glass jars like mason jars. Keep in a cool, dark place. Your harvest will easily remain potent and fresh for a full year until your next crop is ready. Dude, this sounds great. I like this idea. I think we're doing it. Sprinkle on your salad. Yeah, there you go. A half a pound outdoors. That's insane. If I have 6, I'll have more than I'll have to. I guess what everyone's getting for Christmas. Guess what you're getting for Christmas? Now I'll have to throw parties. Everyone come to my house. We're having some edible parties. Are there auto flower plants? I don't know. I gotta do a little bit more research. Make horticulture great again. I think it's great. 2-legged vermin can be a problem. Well, I do have alley access behind my house, but there's also barbed wire to protect my goods. I don't think people are going to brave the barbed wire to come get my weed. Plus, I think I'll be all right. I think I'll be okay. Anyways, Jake Lang, look at this Nazi. He's in jail right now.
Wow, there's a lot to say here. The gentlelady from Wyoming said that she doesn't understand why we brought up the Epstein files 20 times. Mr. Raskin made it 21. I'm going to make it 22. The reason we brought up the Epstein files is because you all keep telling us that we don't care about women and girls. That statement has been made over and over and over and over again. So let me ask a little simple question, though there's not very many of you over there on that side. How many of you signed the discharge petition to bring the Epstein Transparency Act to the floor? Anybody over there? Because Mr. Massey's not there. He did. He led that. I give him tons of credit for that. Did anybody sign that discharge petition? Don't see a single hand being raised. How about on our side? Members, how many of us signed the discharge petition to bring the Epstein Transparency Act to the floor? Yeah, every single person on this side. We wanted to investigate every single pedophile and pedophile protector that was in that Epstein ring. And you have the temerity over there to tell us that somehow we don't care about women and girls. Have you spent any time with those survivors? Because we have, right, ladies? We have. All of us, gentlemen as well. Oh, I see that there are so many ladies on this side and there's one lady on the Republican side. I don't know what it is about your party that doesn't seem to want to have women run over there in your party. But
what is it about the Republicans where women aren't running? They're running from Republicans.
let me tell you something. We spent a lot of time with these survivors, and the way they are being treated right now is stunningly disrespectful. Todd Blanche is out there saying, there's nothing to investigate. Did you see that? He said, there's nothing to investigate. I'm not even going to try to run an investigation. So you all want to know why we keep bringing up Epstein? Because there is a massive cover-up of the Epstein files and everybody involved, and you have the temerity to suggest that we are the party that doesn't care about women and girls? Give me a freaking break.
2, 1.
I mean, I totally with her on that. That's reasonable. I think she's great. I think she's right. How come women don't want to be maggers anymore? You smell half a mile before you get your house before budding. I'm thinking maybe I should do... you guys said buckets, but I think I'll get some nice looking like pots. Like, let's do it right. Let's get like some big pots, like terracotta pots or whatever, you know, make it look nice out there. They got ornate ones. My mom used to have such great ones. I wish I kept them. You know, they're all gone now. But I mean, I'll get some cool ones, maybe like handmade pots or hand cast pots. Those exist. And I'll put marijuana plants in them. That sounds great. Yes. Hey, a transgender in women's sports. Shit, bro. All right, this is the last one. Gen Alpha sisters mock Gen Z. I was hoping Jackie Boyle was watching because these are Scottish girls. Scottish girls.
I suppose the time has come.
Wait, I'm literally obsessed.
When now Gen Z is old enough to be mocked by the next generation.
Were you trying to make fun of Gen Z the way that people online think that you were?
Yes, they do it so ridiculously. It's actually insane.
Tosha here is a 12-year-old member of Gen Alpha who, for the past few weeks,
First, as you know, we're going to do ASMR.
has been picking up millions of views for her impersonations of the...
It's so true. What is it with Gen Z? They do that. They're like, ASMR. I can't. I'm like, why are these women clacking everything with their nails? Why is this a thing? Clacking everything. Everything's got to be clacked with the nails.
20-something-year-old influencers she sees trying food on her feed. One commenter writing, Gen Alpha serving karma to Gen Z on behalf of us millennials.
What would your advice be to Gen Z?
Maybe don't exaggerate on a strawberry.
For the record, though, Tosha, her mom Anna, and her sister Pola were not the first to come up with this idea. But they do have a unique way of taking on trends from their home in Scotland, which means, yes, Tosha is actually putting on an American accent, too.
Do you have a favorite American word or phrase you like to say in an American voice?
Orange.
Orange? How do you say orange with a Scottish accent? Orange? Orange? That's your favorite word for an orange. Orange. How do you say it? I don't know. When I was in England, I didn't think they said orange different. Orange. An orange. An orange. I think they would say an orange. What? An orange. Orange. It's not funny. I got school. It's not funny. It's not funny.
I absolutely hate this. But is their carefree comedy now bordering on poignancy? I asked 2 of ABC's younger staff members to watch and give their feedback.
Very good impression. I just hate. It's
difficult to watch, though.
Yeah, difficult to watch.
Some amazingly orange carottes.
But for Tosha
Amazingly orange carote.
and Pola, they know one day their time will come too from Generation Beta.
How will that feel?
I'd be upset.
Like she's even doing the like when you're showing, they put the hand up and they do this. That's so funny. That's so funny.
Funny. It's funny because I get upset.
By the way, guys, Tosha and Pola said the other word they love hearing Americans say is block. Block? 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 How do you say it?
Block. Why is block? Block? Block. I don't know. I thought block. Block is how do you say block? I guess they would say block. Block. They like block and orange. Orange. All right. Well, I'm glad I'm old now. They're millennium. Yep. Gen Z and Alpha. Are you a millennial, Positrack? Are you a millennial? I'm on the cusp. I'm a millennial Gen Xer. I'm somewhere in the liminal space between Gen X and millennial. So I'm the real old one. The oranges of the story. Orange mushroom cobbler. All right. Thank you all for joining. My name is Skyjack Morgan. I'm an independent news and culture commentator, free speech and critical thinking advocate. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you very, very much. I hope you don't take any wooden nickels out there and take care of each other. Godspeed, rebels. Wait. We almost forgot. Oh my God. I think that, what was I going to say? God damn it. I lost my train of thought all of a sudden. I lost my train of ding. I lost my ding dang do train of thought. I lost my ding dang do train of thought, y'all. Here we go. Oh, Jorge Luis Borges is going to be the poem of the day, translated by Tony Barnston. We're going to start doing members only streams after the show as soon as my legs feel a little bit better. So stay tuned. That we're still going to do that really soon. Dagger nabbit. The girl that is mad about the cost of ice cream is funny too. Oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the girl mad about ice cream. Well, millennials were the generational punching bag forever, and then it happened to BIT and Gen Z and now Gen Alpha. Well, I mean, Gen X used to be like, nobody cares about Gen X. They don't care about anything. All right, the poem of the day is To the One Who Is Reading Me by Jorge Luis Borges. You are invulnerable. Don't they deliver those forces that control your destiny, the certainty of dust? Couldn't it be your irreversible time is that river in whose bright mirror Heraclitus read his brevity? A marble slab is saved for you, one you won't read, already graved with city, epitaph, dates of the dead, and other men are also dreams of time, not hardened bronze, purified gold. They're dust like you. The universe is Proteus, shadow. You'll travel to what waits ahead. The fatal shadow waiting at the rim. Know this, in some way, you're already dead. Damn. Kind of heavy, Jorge Luis Borges. Of course, Borges is that famous guy. He wrote all my melancholy horrors and all of that. He's a famous guy, famous writer. He's dead, though. He's dead. You don't have to go look him up or anything. But if you've read him, then you know. The marble slab is saved for you, one you won't read, already graved with city, epitaph, dates of the dead. And other men are also dreams of time, not hardened bronze, purified gold. They're dust, like you. The universe is Proteus. Shadow, you'll travel to what waits ahead. The fatal shadow waiting at the rim. Know this in some way, you're already dead. Yeah, pretty rough, man. Pretty hardcore. Always these death poems are always so fun. Heraclitus was the Greek philosopher. I wanted to find out what he was kind of opposite of concept of change. Opposites and the concept of change. The unity of opposites and the concept of change. Heraclitus saw harmony and justice and strife. He viewed the world as a constantly in flux, always becoming but never being. I mean, that makes sense that he would be in the poem. And then Proteus is the ancient Greek myth of the prophetic sea god, the one who sees the future, or god of rivers and oceanic bodies of water, one of several deities whom Homer, the old man in the sea, calls the old man of the sea. Some who ascribe a specific domain to Proteus call him the god of elusive sea change, which suggests the changeable nature of sea or the liquid quality of water. He can foretell the future. Yeah. Protean. From this feature of Proteus comes the adjective protean, meaning versatile, mutable, capable of assuming many forms. Protean has positive connotations of flexibility, versatility, and adaptability. So it's kind of fun, like the universe is Proteus. It's a fun poem, man. Fun little poem. I don't know if you guys liked it, but I liked it. Sex hair. Who's got sex hair? The hair of colitis. Colitis, or you mean coitus? Coitus or colitis? Not colitis. I prefer coitus to colitis myself. I don't know how you feel about it. Yeah, kids today wouldn't survive the jungle we went through. These Gen Z would be the first to die. Well, we were just feral back in the day. Fucking kids are way smarter nowadays than we were. You think? You think they're smarter? I don't know about that. They got no street skills. They got no street smarts. People were more egotistic in the 80s, but it was the 80s. Nobody noticed. Really? We got a song that translates to over 100 years. You will all be dead. Walk to school, yeah. All right. Well, I thank you guys so much. We drank from the garden hoses and we told to stay out of the house until sundown. Yeah, that was my life. Yeah, we drank out of garden hoses. We were told to stay out of the house until the street lights came on. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Illegitimate non-carborundum. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Godspeed, rebels. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Consider becoming a Sky City Rebel, supporting the channel, supporting this community. And I'll keep showing up. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow for the Morning Sky Show, the #1 news reaction show in YouTube history. Godspeed, rebels.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so friggin' much.